across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello and welcome to The Late Show. Well, what a result for the Greens. One of the best examples of closed ethnic family voting and electoral fraud that I've seen in my entire life. And I used to work for the Conservative Party in Tooting. I'll tell you something, Sadiq Khan used to benefit hugely from all of this sort of thing. Just to explain to you how all of this works, just so we can get it, we'll talk to young Bob about this, he's been in Gould and Denton, but here's how you do it. You can list an unlimited number of people at any property, and then you get postal votes on demand. And I remember reporting 17 people living in a flat in Tooting. They were called Iqbal Mohammed Khan, Mohammed Iqbal Khan, Iqbal Mohammed Khan, and it just, and I was like, this is just the same bloke. Wandsworth Council weren't willing to accept that. In Pendle, 73 people lived in a 2 up, 2 down. And we've seen examples also in Gorton and Denton. So that's the postal votes on demand. They made it slightly harder by things like having to have the same signature for the person that you registered. But here is the critical point. The reason why you were able to register anyone you wanted in the past, even though it wasn't legal, they'd never check it, because you had to vote in person and there was no ID. So that was all very easy to do. Now, what's happened, I think, in Gorton and Denton very clearly is this. Postal votes on demand, 25% of all ballots cast were postal votes. That is a massive increase. And the reason the Labour Party allowed postal votes on demand is because no political party is going to commit electoral fraud. What they will do is they will know their supporters do it on their behalf. And so the Labour Party would let them away with it. But I was always critical of the Conservatives, because the Conservatives knew that they would benefit hugely from this, because there were more little old ladies who might not make it on the day than there were electoral fraudsters. Therefore, they allowed the electoral fraud to go ahead. In terms of family voting, 68% of ballot boxes were reported to have had dads telling their wives and children which way to vote.
Going in the cubicle with them, which is illegal.
Going in the cubicle with them. And so, look, Labour has built a portfolio of inner-city electoral fraud, and Zach Polanski has taken it off them. I mean, it's almost laughable, isn't it? Anyway, let's go to young Bob from Restore Britain, who's a journalist as well. He goes out filming. How are you?
First of all, who's beating you up this week?
Some Muslims outside of East London Mosque. Just want to clarify, I'm not a spokesperson for Restore. I'm just a member. Don't want to say
an activist. You're an activist.
Yeah, I'm an activist.
Yeah. An asset.
Yeah, an asset outside officially of the party. I'm just, trying to help them.
So what happened in Whitechapel outside the mosque? Why they don't like you for some reason?
Yeah, they never really do. Now, the context to it, it's about 2 days before, just after the Christian preacher got his equipment nicked and beat up. And
by the way, before you go any further, let me just say one thing to you. Yeah. There's a critical weakness in this plan here, isn't there, of giving all the guests sweets before they go on air. Yes, it does boost their blood sugar, but you end up with a mouthful of glue. It's impossible to speak.
Swings around.
And also, you've just contributed to the child obese epidemic by giving kids a bunch of sweets.
Yeah, it's probably illegal. We'll probably get arrested.
Yeah.
He's going to get a sugar rush.
At least it's not a Monster or a Red Bull. Now, about 2 days after the Christian preacher was famously assaulted, which quite honourably the policewoman was defending his right to freely express himself.
Great policewoman, that's what we need.
I would never recommend you intentionally going to a Muslim area and do something provocative like insult the Prophet or burn the Quran, but ideally you should be able to. But we were doing
it should be legal.
Yeah, it should
be
legal.
Did you hear about the appeal case that was won today about the guy who did burn the Quran outside the Turkish consulate? It's been reversed. The judges have said it's ridiculous, and the DPP, his head must roll, because he basically made up a law at first saying you're insulting the institution of Islam, which isn't even a law. So then they changed it, and then the judge found him guilty and said he was guilty because the guy attacked him with a knife, and that proves he's guilty anyway.
No, sorry, just to be clear on that proves the strength of feeling in the Muslim community that someone stabbed him.
Freedom of Speech, Free Speech Union represented him. He went to appeal court and it was thrown out, and now they're calling for the head of the DPP for trying to bring blasphemy through the back door. Sorry, Bob.
Yeah, thank you for the context, Wikipedia. Now, we were doing some Vox Pops just outside of Whitechapel Station, and,
Daily Telegraph,
as we were doing interviews, a Muslim man was walking past us. So we were just walking in the direction of East London Mosque, which is one of the biggest mosques in London. It was during the holy time of Ramadan, so I changed my Vox Pops with Muslims who are just breaking their fast about how healthy Ramadan is, because there's a common misconception that it is regimental fasting. It's very pious. It's very. You have to dedicate a lot of effort in your time.
I heard you having a go saying my fasting's better than your fasting.
I didn't
You
say
do.
it
You go,
like
my
that.
Lent's much harder and proper fasting, right?
I wouldn't say it like that, but I would say certainly there is a misconception amongst, especially the sort of post-COVID Andrew Tate phenomena of men reverting to Islam, this sort of mentality that Ramadan is very pious. So I was asking them, I was showing them stats by the CNN about the health risks about taking part in Ramadan, and we had an hour and a half discussion, very healthy, and two Muslims exited the mosque, physically jumped on me, grabbed my camera, smashed the camera so the SD card fell out, and started womanly attacking me, like pushing, pinching me. It was very
Pinching you?
Yeah, very childish stuff. Yeah, they might have fancied me, you never know.
Did the police get involved? They broke your equipment.
Hang on a second. If they pinch you, you could do them for sexual assault.
That's true.
Potentially.
Of a child.
Yeah,
That's even worse.
visiting my local police station. What happened
They'll
is...
turn a blind eye.
Visiting police station, they will have nominated them for a knighthood.
Yeah.
Believe me.
What about your equipment? Have the
especially
police
some
got
scumbags
involved?
from the
They
Thames
won't have
Valley.
got involved, will they?
So I called them. So I walked down to Tower Hamlets Town Centre, council, because it was a known place to call the police by, and I was like, this happened, can you please send a unit? They're still outside the mosque, and they said it'll take an hour. I was like, great. I finally told them where I live, because I was just asking information as I was waiting. I was like, oh, you don't live in London, you might as well just call your local police department and go into the station and do a report.
Never, Bob, I'm sorry to say this, you should have said, I think they've got a knife.
Really?
Because the police will never turn up, so you might as well say that. I think they've got a knife. And then they'll...
Only do it if you do think they have a knife.
It was like that bloke. Well, if you see a glint, it could be a ring. Did you hear about that? Did you hear about that guy who said that his bike was being stolen from his shed, and the police said we can't turn up? So he phoned them back 5 minutes later saying, "Don't worry, I've shot him." and 8 police cars and a helicopter turned up.
Well, that's a great way of getting nicked yourself, I suppose. But they're going
to arrest you anyway, aren't they? Because
so they basically just said, forget about it.
Yeah, I'm going to go into the station at some point. I've been really busy, unfortunately, up in Manchester. But hopefully it will be dealt with. I do have the guy... My camera got nicked, but then I immediately started filming with my phone, so I did get the guy's
So actually stole your camera and went away with it?
I think he did, or alternatively, I'm... on good authority, probably just dumped it somewhere because it was broken, because he smashed it.
Yeah, because he wants to destroy the footage, doesn't he? What he's concerned about is blasphemy. He wants to ensure that the holy month of Ramadan is not insulted. By the way, you and I disagree on Ramadan. The purpose of Ramadan is during the hours of daylight to know what it's like to be hungry, but you don't actually have to eat less.
I just don't think that's the purpose of fasting, but I think we can go outside of that.
So just to be clear, the consumption of food during Ramadan increases in every Muslim country, right? And the reason for that is because if you know you ain't going to eat for 12 hours, you stuff your face more than you would have done otherwise. But there's no religious prohibition of that.
Correct. But I would certainly say, if you are a grifter, please set up a market stall with sweets at the time of Ramadan. You will make a killing.
Really?
Yeah, you will. Let's set up an informal, Del Boy stand.
Oh, so you mean during the day, people blagging it?
Yeah. And a lot of people are saying, you shouldn't eat in front of people during Ramadan. You know what I mean? And they're now saying we should ban dogs from certain areas. Camden are suggesting it, and that,
There was
stuff like this.
I think it was a McDonald's ad somewhere in Europe where they were not showing the food, but for the packaging of the food during Ramadan. I think I mentioned this before, when I was working at McDonald's, all of the people working in the kitchen were Muslims, and they demanded that they all go off and break when they could able to break their fast at the same time. So it was completely dysfunctional.
And you had to flip all the burgers yourself?
I was so autistic, I just didn't know how to flip any of the burgers. I was just, filling up the drinks.
Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Sorry, they didn't even promote you to 1-star burger flipper.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not being funny.
Bob couldn't even flip burgers.
But I can do political commentary.
But he can do political commentary.
I've got. See, being in McDonald's is like being in the military. The number of stars is like what general you are. So if you're
my mate had. Did you ever meet Hamburger, or did you ever break in and try and nick some burgers?
You know what? It's so unfortunate that the only thing I ever saw people dress up as is the Grinch. I wanted like a Ronald McDonald.
Do you know about Hamburglar?
I think I do.
He was. They just disappeared. No one really knows. Maybe it was.
I used to have a Hamburger Le Pen.
Did he go to Epstein Island?
Maybe he was on the kind.
You know what you should do? You remind me. There was a guy in the 80s called Roger Cook who used to go to gangsters and challenge them and then get beaten up by them. And he look a bit like a young Roger Cook. You should watch his videos. He was
just intentionally
brilliant.
Trying to get beat up by gang members.
How many times have you been attacked now?
I just don't know.
You can't even. You've lost count.
Hang on, I thought counting was your thing if you're autistic.
Well,
I mean, I've seen Rain Man.
No, there's all different. That's different. That's what the.
No, but on the serious, look, we're taking the mick now. But on a serious note, I'm very concerned. I made an appeal on my YouTube channel for people to volunteer to come with you filming, and lots of people did get in touch. And I'm talking about people who are ex-military, ex-police. There was a paramedic who said he'd been trained on what to do with violent patients. And I'll give you their details.
There's some transferable skills there. Yeah, I'd appreciate it.
No, because ultimately, what you've done has been pretty responsible. You walk up and you ask people questions. Now, you have asked a legitimate question. Do you think it's right that we talk about Ramadan being pious when more food gets eaten? You've heard my answer, but you're not being disrespectful in asking the question, and yet your camera gets smashed. That is what is unacceptable.
Yeah, precisely. I think people should, even if it is quite volatile, say whatever they believe in, because if they censor themselves, it's a sort of disingenuous society to live in if we all lie to each other.
But this is the nature of blasphemy, which is you can't make the point because I don't want to argue it. If you look at the Quran burner, right, what he was doing, he wasn't even trying to insult the religion of Islam. What he was trying to say was that the Turkish government has become too motivated by Islam and should return to being the secular country it was under Ataturk. Right, that's why he burnt it outside the consulate. He didn't burn it outside a mosque. And yet, then the judges, as Asher quite rightly pointed out, tried to put him in jail on the basis that that someone stabbed him.
It's typically when people do provocative things, like even at the Iranian protests when they're, burning the Islamic regime flag, like they're doing it because they're protesting. It serves a function. If you do something for no reason, of course we're going to blame you. It's like, well, what do you expect?
Now, this is an interesting story that's come out tonight in the Telegraph. Election cheat monitors were told to be sensitive to cultures and customs. The Electoral Commission guidance revealed amid reports of widespread illegal family voting. So they were advised to be sensitive,
which is basically allow family illegal.
So, but as election monitors, you should not respect any other culture or custom but our voting system.
Yeah, any single culture that contradicts this notion that we have a ballot box which is up until you make your own decision on who you want to vote for. You should completely disregard that cultural practice.
But there is also another really important thing, a really, really important thing, which is this: if opinion polls are anything to go by, the vast majority of British Muslims are not Gaza nutters, are not obsessed with being in blasphemy laws, do not want to kill infidels, and if they cannot vote secretly against a very loud minority, the whole system collapses. The purpose of secret voting is to make sure that when your dad comes in and goes, you must vote Green, you're able to go to the ballot box, tell him you did it, and vote Conservative.
It's also, this is the sort of how high-functioning religions work. There would have been imams on the night of the elections saying, if you do not vote for the Green Party, you are a disgrace.
Yes,
and that sort of pressuring is...
That's illegal on the day of outside the election.
Well, yeah, we even saw, I think there was a video of a Gazan campaigner outside of the polling station with a Green Party banner, which clearly broke electoral law. So I think that because this was on the national stage, because it was a parliamentary by-election where, smaller insurging political parties could get an MP, we have hyper-focused and able to analyse the issues of sectarian violence, family voting, breaking electoral law in terms of canvassing when you're not ought to, and it'll be really interesting.
But let me tell you something about one of the important things about family voting. So, for many years, my dad was a member of the Labour Party. Nothing wrong with that, all throughout the 80s. And my mum and dad used to go to vote together. Now, my mum wasn't massively political, but as it happened, she wanted Margaret Thatcher to win because she said, I thought it was about time a woman got the top job, which is a wholly legitimate view to take. Now, throughout the 1980s, starting in 79, but going all the way through, my mum and dad turned up and cancelled out each other's voting. Right, and my dad was never told...
It's a waste of time.
Well, no, my dad was never told that my mum was voting against the position that he was voting in. Now, that is something that ought to be protected. He was very political. She felt differently to him. And I think that is the whole purpose of all of it. Because what would he have said? I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't have turned violent. Well,
that's what women won the vote for. If it was just so their husband could tell them what to
But, like,
vote.
I think with family voting as well, family voting in, like, the aspect of, well, my fiancée will probably vote for who I ought to vote, because she'll ask me what's the political party to vote for, and I'll say it, and she'll probably, based on what I say as an influence, vote for that said political party. So that's a form of family voting which is legitimate, ethical, and, you know, just consistent with the most ways that families operate. But if you compare that to going into the polling station and doing it for them, that's completely unethical. You're trying to artificially improve
one of them is voting on your behalf. The other is asking your opinion.
Precisely.
And asking your opinion is perfectly legitimate.
What is your view, your own age group? There seems to be a difference with girls or women, young women, and boys, young men. There seems to be, like, they vote left. That people say women are more likely to vote left, and Zach Polanski and that sort of crazy. What's your view? I mean, you know all these people.
So
when you were down the discos with them.
Yeah. I was interviewing in Gould and Denton, so I was able, and I'll post it on my YouTube at some point. Young Bob, if you haven't done so, subscribe.
Young Bob.
However, I found a lot of 18 to 24-year-olds. Most of them were still voting for the Green Party. Now, we are seeing an insurgent fringe of men voting for right-wing populism, and that's because maternity and paternity sort of point towards your political ideology. Certainly, if Zach Polanski's sort of grifting off this vibe of hope, it really resonates with women. So that is why they're traditionally...
It's a fantasy romance.
Yeah,
you know,
fantasy romance. It's traditionally
ending.
Tropes that women resonate with.
It's not the real world.
Comparing that to men who are taught to be the breadwinners, they know the difficulties of the reality that they live in, so they want to fight for this country. The right wing teaches that what is necessary will be difficult. Comparing that to the left, that just says if you vote for the Greens, you'll get a communist utopia.
But I will tell you the thing that I find very difficult, young Bob. Right. It's turning round to people. And saying, you are not heartless if you believe that people are going to solve the problems better than government. Because, of course, as an example, I had a friend who used to work on the TV show Watchdog, and he always said it was the most left-wing TV show in the country because every single segment of every single episode was business are letting you down, government has to step in, right? Not it's your responsibility to buy a better product, right? Which sounds quite heartless. Well, if your toaster blew up, why did you buy a crap toaster? Is quite a hard message to put across. But ultimately, what happens is there's a bit that people don't see, which is you're empowering bureaucrats to live your life for you.
And also, I would say, when it comes to, because I feel like Farage is doing the sort of Trump thing of saying, well, the election was rigged. And Nick Buckley, because of course he got less votes than the monster raving loony party.
I feel so bad about that.
I really do. I was with him at the pub just before he went to
he thought he was doing okay, didn't he?
Yeah. He thought at least
he was beaten by Sir Oinkler, and I, as a minister for the monster raving loony party, the minister for TV, I got the honours. They are a much more professional outfit.
I do think they need to improve their campaign.
We might have Lord Oinkler. He's doing a lot. He might be coming after. Anyway, look, young Bob, we've got to take a little breaky, but we're going to talk about Churchill.
After this, I want to talk about Nick Buckley, but we'll do that after
Nick Buckley and his terrible performance there. Statue vandalised, Churchill, and also a million of your compadres are just on the dole, languishing on their Tamagotchis. It's Talk with Andre Nash and young Bob, back in a couple of minutes.
across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Oh yes, this is Talk, and we wanted to talk a little bit about Nick Buckley, because Nick Buckley was the Advance UK, the Ben Habib candidate in Gorton Denton. He did badly. Actually, I don't think he did badly. I think that he ran a great campaign, spoke to loads of people, but suffered a crisis of confidence. However, 154 votes is beneath appalling for a man who got 55,000 in the mayoral election.
I beat Reform in the mayoral elections.
I would say if he ran as an independent candidate, because the thing is, the reason why there was such a low turnout is because all these political parties just look the same, and when you start to say, we're a bit different, you've been abandoned for over 100 years, but we'll actually fix it and turn it around. And when you have canvassers from different areas of the country that speak in different accents, you kind of get fed up with it. So if he stood as an independent, as, you know, a humble, because he's a very humble guy.
Yeah.
Just before counts, I was with him at the pub. He's very warm, very kind. He listens to everyone.
Is that a problem? Has he not got that cutthroat thing that Farage has and that Rupert Lowe has?
I believe that that's actually a good quality to have. Zach Palansky tries to portray that character quite well, and it resonates a lot with the electorate, because people sort of want to be mothered now. I don't think people want a violent solution. And people like Nick seem genuine, seem dedicated. Of course, he ran a charity in the area. So if he stood as an independent, because unfortunately Advance UK has like dentistry vibes when it comes to it. And
is it the branding? Is Advance not a good name? Like Restore and Reform, they sort of do what does Advance mean? You know what I mean?
I like the sort of wording of it, because so many people, especially boomers, will talk about, you know.
Oh, it does look like a toothpaste advert, doesn't it? Yeah, you are.
Yeah, Signal.
No, you've just
the one with the stripe.
Yeah, and also you can't put the tick on the ballot as well, so you don't even get the logo when you're trying to vote. So
why won't he team up with Rupee?
Oh, you can't put a tick.
Yeah, you can't put a tick, and that was actually one of the issues. A lot of his critics were saying you won't get past the Electoral Commission because your logo has a tick in it.
Thatcher would like that.
Yeah.
Why won't? What's going on with Ben and Rupert? Is it coming together, or are they pulling apart?
So first of all, I would say that there is there is essential share of dissident right-wing support that these small parties always divide amongst. So you'll get maybe say 5 to 10% of the vote that will potentially support sort of online dissident right-wing parties, right? And that's split amongst different smaller political parties like UKIP, Advance, Restore. Now, Restore, nearly on 100,000 members, are smart enough to admit that, yeah, it is good PR for these people to merge. It shows that there is a unified right-wing movement. But also, if he continues without them, it's not necessary, because all the momentum behind Advance will go to Restore. And Rupert's a very dogmatic person. He has a very particular way of doing things. So, despite the fact that they'll work with each other...
When you say Rupert's a very dogmatic person... Look, Rupert Lowe has done some phenomenal things, but he's difficult. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, he's a dogmatic person, I agree.
Yeah, but you know...
Because he's run a business, he's been the number one man. This is how he works.
Nick Tanconi turns around to him and says, I'm willing to merge UKIP with Restore. And he just said no.
Yeah, so he said, and I actually agree with him, the benefit of a merger has to be reciprocal, right? So what does Advance UK, what does UKIP have that would benefit Restore Britain?
Tanconi is a good speaker, isn't he?
He's a good speaker, but
also,
that's why the invitation's been, you can join, but we're not going to merge, because there's nothing in terms of infrastructure but
also, Nick Tanconi, I was talking about this last night, Asher and I were talking about it. If you're talking about front benchers in political parties who could win a bar fight, Tanconi's your man. Right? If it does get down to
like a John Prescott type
that's
character.
Right. I reckon
a bruiser.
I do agree with you. He has incredibly great optics for this sort of masculine Christianity, but I don't think there's anything that UKIP could potentially offer that is a reciprocal benefit to Restore, and that is why I just feel like he just wants to grow by himself as much as humanly possible, and eventually that will gain the momentum that he would have had if he just instantly merged with other parties.
When you say Restore and UKIP merge, well, you know, there'd still be the overwhelming majority. It'd be a hostile. It'd be a friendly takeover bid.
It would be, and also especially with Advance, I would just assume as well it'd be difficult to merge. And I think it was on Dan Wootton, and he gave this example of too many egos and personalities wanting a comfortable position within the new party that just seems like it's gaining the most momentum on the online right. So I just feel like with all of the difficult personalities trying to reverse it through, with the fact that I believe Restore by themselves will gain all the momentum that is necessary to win.
But let's just be clear.
Yeah.
There are only 2 people in British politics, 3 people, from what I can see, who appear to be against right-wing mergers. Kemi Badenoch, Nigel Farage and Rupert Lowe.
Yeah, because I feel like
which is the key
all
thing.
3 of them believe that they can do it without it being necessary.
Egos, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what if I sit there and I go, I don't care about Nigel Farage's feelings on this. I like him, but honestly, I want all the big beasts to get together.
Yeah, I agree with you. It'd be great. But unfortunately, I'm not Rupert. I can't tap into his mind and tell him to do something.
I'd avoid doing it if I were you.
But unfortunately, I can kind of commentate why I think it's the case.
I think, and I'll be honest with you, and I know people like who they like, but I just think we have to say to these people, your egos are not as important as the future of this country. And I think we also have to be able to say, I think you're brilliant, but you've got an ego that's too big.
But they will never agree. Their egos are more important than the country.
Yeah,
aren't they,
because one could always portray the narrative that the other has an ego. So, you know, especially with... Because I think that we need to start investing in PR people when we're on social media, folks, including politicians. Ben Habib, I think the way he went out publicly criticising Restore was just out of pocket. He did a video essentially saying, I'm withdrawing my offer to merge simply because you don't have a draft constitution, which, despite the fact I think democracy within a political party is a good thing, it's mostly trivial. Most people are just members of political parties and don't really contribute towards the direction of the party. True. So I think that...
He was worried about what's going to happen in the future.
He's worried about the democratic model of Restore. Yeah. And I think that most people don't really care. They want a mechanism to, of course, withdraw. But
he's a businessman, so he'll be thinking about that.
But outside of that, I do not think that people want to have the decision of every single policy passed within Restore. So I think Ben was hoping for support on issues he had with Restore that no one really cares about. So it's incredibly bad PR in terms of withdrawing support in that way.
So what you're basically saying is Ben Habib is a campaigner for internal party democracy, and you don't care about internal party democracy.
Most people don't.
No, I'm not being critical of that. I think it's a reasonable.
Is Elon Musk going to throw his big wallet into the coffers for Rupert Lowe?
Well, again, I'm not his PR guy, but you know, there was that whole discussion, wasn't there, about how he was going to give millions of quid to reform and how he's going to do it with companies he established in England. So it's going to be difficult.
He hasn't donated to the rape inquiry, has he? I mean, that's a bit odd because he's the one who sort of began the snowballing of it, and I think they've raised 600,000.
I think he's too autistic for British politics. You have a lot of nuance and, well, what is within the realms of possibility, and Elon Musk doesn't care. He just sees the end and he doesn't understand the means because he's not in Britain.
His grandma was a Scouser.
Yeah.
He's got skin in the game.
But the other problem that Elon Musk is going to have is what company is going to donate to Restore UK? Because it would have to be either a British voter living in the UK or a British entity having made money in the UK. The only one I can think of is Tesla UK, and I can't
Charlie Mullins.
I can't. No, it would have to be Elon's money.
Well,
right.
So that's the suspicion.
So the big problem you've got is
big job done on his house.
The big problem you've got is, unless Tesla UK donates to Restore, which it's never going to do, Elon...
Why not? Why can't it?
Because the board of Tesla UK would have to approve it.
Well, maybe because you had this issue with Trump, and the reason why he withdrew support with Trump was deals with Tesla fell through, right? He wants to put his support where he sees deals being made on his electric cars. So potentially, maybe he could convince the board through Restore looking quite favourably towards electric cars, especially in Tesla, and that's my suspicion on why he supports other political leaders.
Here is the other thing that Tony Blair brought in. In order for any UK company to make a donation over £5,000, here is what you need. You need the money to be earned in the UK, which was the whole issue with what they were trying to do to Aaron Banks, which, by the way, they were just wrong about Aaron Banks. He behaved completely legally. Next, it has to be recommended by the board, and thirdly, it has to go to a full shareholders AGM and be approved. That's the reason why Dame Shirley Porter had to stop the Tesco's donations to the UK, because while she could get the board to agree, she couldn't get the entire shareholders meeting to agree.
Yeah, it'll be difficult.
Dixon's were the same.
And I don't think we should rely too much on Elon, besides from the online support. I mean, Restore have essentially won the social media battle anyways. Most reform comments about Restore just get ratioed to hell.
By the way, can I tell you how the Conservative Party illegally raises money? Right, this has never been said on British media. This is hilarious. This is
all alleged, by the way.
All alleged.
All allegedly.
Right, so you cannot make a donation to the Conservative Party if you are a foreign national, but you can buy something off somebody for the commercial rate. So they used to have their annual black and white ball. They used to get Peter Bonham from Bonham's Auctioneers, who was not in on the game, and they'd go, this portrait of William Hague will start the bidding at £100,000.
Minus £100,000.
And they'd sell it. I saw them sell a portrait of William Hague for £250,000. But here is the critical point.
God.
There's only one of them, so the price that it sells at is its market rate, correct?
Yeah.
You've got 1,500 people in the room. Peter Bonham's from Bonham's Auctioneers doing the auction. 20 people bid it. It must be worth $250,000.
Was there actually an oil painting of
there was. Now, if I buy an oil painting of William Hague for £250,000, and I am, say, as an example, from Dubai, then that is perfectly legal. I can write out a cheque to the Conservative Party straight away. Now, if you want to check whether the Conservative Party has an annual auction at the Black and White Ball where items go for between £150,000 and £300,000, check.
Well, that is how you get rid of the Conservative Party. You get rid of their big donors because they already overlap with reform. And, of course, one of the major issues, especially with Nick Buckley's campaign, I'm assuming, is they didn't have a massive HQ. So that is going to be... I don't think the support is the issue. I think there's certainly a base. If you have, on average, 49%...
Did you say HQ?
HQ.
You don't pronounce the... It's HQ. It's pronounced
Can I
Education, Bob.
Let me tell you this.
Start from the bottom. We're going to have the foundations before you can go...
Let me tell you this. I'll tell you what it reminds me of, and the reason why I wouldn't be critical of Nick Buckley at all. I remember that I was running in Portsoken for the City of London. Now, there's only about 300, 400 voters in total. And I was doing OK, but I just wasn't winning. Right, I was going to come second.
So you committed electoral fraud.
No, and what happened was the day the nominations closed, a better candidate than me entered the race. Right, somebody who just knew more people, right? And what happened was all of my support melted away to this other person. And so I was everybody's second choice in an election where you get one vote. And did really quite badly.
Well, that's why everyone calls for AV, right? Because then it gives you that opportunity to. And, of course, I don't actually want proportional representation. I think that would lead to a government that wouldn't be able to govern successfully. Imagine if proportional representation was a system and that just enabled smaller parties to successfully win
that's how the Nazis sort of got in.
And that's how the French actually... The reason why the French government never really dealt with Hitler properly was because they ran under that model, and you had so many different political parties. You know, you got the hard left socialists, you had the sort of liberals, you had the right wingers, you had the extreme right wingers, and they all formed a government. None of them could agree with anything.
Yeah, but that's what you got to get in Israel. Two parties, two sensible parties get 45% each, and then 10% goes to absolute nutbags.
Well, the best one was in Belgium, where they didn't have any political party, and it ran better than ever without having a government. Anyway, if you want to talk to young Bob, 0344 499 1000. It's Andre Nash. I'm going to talk about the million people your age are just sitting at home, lazy, and the Churchill
statue. At least I'm sitting at talkTV studio.
Exactly, keeping warm. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Didn't speak good enough English.
Silence, Bob, silence!
That went out.
That went out, yeah. Great. By the way, just context, I was speaking about when I used to work at McDonald's.
Yeah, well, don't say that. You made it worse.
Now it's digging a hole.
None of them... Okay, this is an issue
Don't
of
make it
integration.
worse,
That's
Bob.
even worse.
The issue of integration.
If you don't speak proper English, you shouldn't work in a service that requires contact with other people, because then they get annoyed, and then that causes more aggression, then that actually causes unpopular positions to be popular.
Should elections be only in English? There shouldn't be any adverts in different languages,
I agree
because
with
if
that.
you can't speak English, you
No,
shouldn't
you
have the
can
vote.
And also, we couldn't properly translate it, right? So there's that.
We
whole
don't know what
issue.
they're saying.
Yeah, there's a whole issue with them deceptively, intentionally using the relationship between India and Israel on Britain to then say we should collectively punish Labour for their support of Israel, so vote for the Green
Which is
Party.
ridiculous. I mean, they recognise the Palestinian state.
And also, what is one MP in Gorton and Denton? Firstly, how is it going to improve the lives of people in Manchester simply because one MP doesn't support Israel? It's completely irrelevant.
No, but that wasn't the proposition.
There's six
And I know
now.
this is what you're driving at anyway, but just to be clear for the viewers and listeners, what it's saying is, I don't care about what's going on in Britain. Yeah. I care about what happens in the wider global Islamic Brotherhood, and the Green Party saying, we're with you.
Precisely. And this is the thing as well. This is why I like Nick Buckley's campaign. You need to actually campaign on things that will actually affect the local constituents. And that's difficult because admittedly a lot of that's down to the council. However, when you're just going off hope and vibes and saying, well, we're going to make your life significantly better by doing things that require a mandate in Parliament, it's incredibly deceptive.
Yeah, but some of the local constituents want to talk about a Pakistan airport. You know what I mean? And if it gets to that level, which it did do, I think it was Hall Green, then this is what starts off a discussion.
But
We're
also,
talking about things that have nothing to do with this country.
I would say as well, we need to focus on how are they becoming so successful? And the reason why they're becoming so successful is because they have a strong sense of community. We don't, and also for young people as well.
They have a sort of a clan, almost a sort of it's us against them, whereas we have an open society where we work together.
That's how Labour got the Muslim voters during like the time of the National Front.
Now, I do want to ask you a quiz question.
Go on.
The official monster raving loony party policy on immigration has been sent to me. What do you think it is?
I think I know this.
Go on.
I don't know. Is it you're allowed to come if you're above 80 years old and you bring your parents with you?
No, that is not the policy.
That's one of them.
The policy is, we will replace the UK border force with a team of GPs receptionists. This will dramatically reduce the number of people.
Yeah, they won't want
It's
to
pretty
come.
effective. No, but I actually think Monster Raving Loony Party serves a really good function of, if you think no one is serious, but you're still politically turned on and engaged, you can vote for us and have a good time at election day. But no, I think it's incredibly deceptive. They don't focus on the local issues, but rather national issues, which they can't even implement. I think it's disingenuous to rely on religious and ethnic blocks of people, but we only have ourselves to blame because we allowed communities to get in this sectarian, divisive sort of atmosphere.
Well, no, but we're leaning into it, aren't we? If we're saying, let's put out leaflets in Urdu, let's have a picture of President Modi. Why would you have the Indian Prime Minister on? And I saw Natalie Bennett tonight, a Green member of the House of Lords, saying, "Oh, it was to prove that we oppose all dictators. That's why we've got both Netanyahu and Modi." No, it's because both of them are perceived to be enemies of Pakistan. It's got nothing to do with.
I would also say, because there isn't 100% Bangladeshi community in Gorton. The reason why younger people also voted for the Greens is because I think there's a fundamental issue with right-wing popularism, not actually focusing, and this would be a good way of segmenting into what you wanted to talk about. They're not focusing on young people, and that's because the right hasn't understood that there is a certain expiration date with appealing to old people, and you need to focus on the unemployment crisis with young people, with getting them into work, discipling them, making sure that this party is for the younger generation, but Reform and the Conservative Party certainly don't resonate.
Yeah, but the right never wins amongst young people.
And
It's
now
slowly
Labour
winning in
don't. That's
Europe.
why they've gone to
The
Greens.
AfD is slowly winning with the young people.
Explain. Tell us how they're getting on. I
in
don't
Germany.
know.
So they're slowly gaining in France as well. I forget the right-wing party. They are slowly in Europe compared to Reform. Outperforming when it comes to young people, and that is because they're doing the smallest things, like having young people in their photo ops. You don't want to rely too much on older people. It's like churches.
Like when Farage did the Jungle show, a lot of young people got engaged with him.
Yeah, because he became more of a cultural icon amongst them.
Yeah.
But like, engaged with young people. It's like churches. If churches are full of old people, you won't get any young people. If a church is full of young people, you get more young people. And there's more young people, and they're going to be living for longer than there would be old people.
By the way, I just want to say to you, Neil from Belfast, I did know about H and H, and about how if you walked into a Protestant bar and said H, you'd get your head kicked in, and if you walked into a Catholic bar and said H, you'd get your head kicked in. It was a sectarian market. I did know that.
But he's not called H from Steps, is he? He's called H. Anyway,
no, he's called Ian Watkins, and that, do you know what? I knew that was going to end badly for him when that lost prophet guy went to prison. Yeah. And do you know what? I went into work that day and I went, H from Steps is going to be hounded from social media.
He blocked everyone.
He'd done nothing wrong apart from just jumped up and been a bit. I mean, also, he was the person least likely to be a danger to people, wasn't he?
I don't know about that. He blocked everyone, didn't he? Blocked you.
No, he did block me. Blocked Lizzie Cundy. She was furious.
What about the Churchill statue being vandalised? What's your views on that?
I think it's a national disgrace. I mean, there are certain positions, even on the right wing, that don't see Churchill as a favourable figure. However, Churchill is symbolic of national pride.
Yes.
And even during the first protest I ever attended was the first course of Palestinian marches just before Remembrance Day, and we made a big issue of marching down the cenotaph just before Remembrance Day and denigrating the Churchill statue because it was just coming off BLM.
And the police attacked them, didn't they?
Yeah,
the Patriots.
Because the Patriots, and it was quite funny. Towards the end of the night, you had drunk people who just wanted to fight. So you had the Palestinian marchers and the Patriots essentially circling, waiting for one of them to go into middle so they can start fighting each other. But
like a maypole.
Yeah. I always think that Churchill, regardless of what you think about him, is supposed to be a symbol of national pride.
Yeah,
so when you denigrate it, you're trying to attack the nation.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. What you're saying is the most important thing in Britain today needs to be Gaza. It has to be the West Bank. Yeah. And the fact that Churchill is a national hero is of no consequence if we don't agree with his views on Gaza.
Precisely.
That is the position.
Yeah, and like, let's say we went...
And nobody in this country, any historical figure in this country, any contemporary figure in this country must be judged on their attitude towards Islamic nationalism in the Middle East. If they are not on board with Islamic nationalism in the Middle East, then they are worthless, no matter what their contribution is. And I think it's an overwhelming show of force to say we will rip down the Churchill statue because he was insufficiently supportive of the Palestinians.
And I would also say, if we were to apply this unfair form of presentism of judging historical figures within their time to modern day standards, we should denigrate the statues of the suffragettes for poisoning people as an act of terrorism. So
they planted bombs.
Yeah, precisely.
I'll tell you what I didn't like, and I don't care if people watching this or listening to this are offended by it. I don't care. But what happened was when there was attacks on statues in Parliament Square, the police, or I think it might have been City Hall, whatever, decided to section it all off with Harris fencing, and they said, we've not sectioned off the statue of Nelson Mandela. And I said, why not? And they said, well, nobody was going to attack Nelson Mandela. Oh, no. I'm deadly serious. If what you are saying, as far as I'm concerned, is the people who attack statues aren't going to attack Nelson Mandela. Let's leave Mandela open to the public. No, I think you shut them all.
Yeah, and also, you're right.
I accept
it shouldn't be the exception to the rule.
I accept that's collective punishment for people who want to go and see the Mandela
I agree
statue.
with you. If you don't want to see certain parts of history, you shouldn't be able to see any part of history, because that just makes you ignorant. And also, if the extreme left begin to destroy our history in areas that they don't like, what stops the fascists and the actual extremist right-wingers going around and destroying and denigrating figures of equality?
It's like the book burning, isn't it?
But we've said this before. You are talking about taking down statues of people who inspired slavery, who worked in the slave trade, and Karl Marx is still up in Highgate Cemetery.
You have to pay for it to visit his grave, right?
It's £10 to get in Highgate Cemetery. Anyway, Bob, we got to go. Is Bob young Bubba. You're staying with us, young Bubba, but we're going to have Anna McGovern talking about all you lazy brothers and sisters who are refusing to go to work, just stay at home playing on your Tamagotchis. That's Anna McGovern in 2 minutes.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Pull it back and slot it in.
Indeed. Okay, this is the Late Show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould. Okay, what are we talking about now? Laziness amongst young people.
And who better to talk about that?
So, 1 million 16 to 24-year-olds are not working or in education. Anna McGovern, what are we going to do about it?
It's your
Gosh,
generation.
I think there is so much that goes into this story, and I think this is something we're seeing more and more, especially as we've come, coming out of lockdown. I think for a start, the way the young people have socialised with each other, for a start, has completely changed. I think we got used to being at home, locked in, and now coming out of lockdown, I do feel that something has changed. And then I think, so first start with specifically for young men as well. I think one thing, I think especially those that are living at home.
Most live at home, young men, because they can't afford it, can they?
Yeah, I live at home.
So that's what. So I'm also going to get into that as well. But I think one thing, living at home, for a lot of young men, if you're, playing video games, for example, using the pornography, that's like a substitute for firstly socializing and relationships. They're going to that instead. And I think for young women, I think it's more so social media. So rather than going out, meeting people, you're actually using social media as a substitute.
Well, you never, in my day, when we were lads, you used to have to get bored on us. Well, I did. I mean, I'm a bit older than Andre. And Sunday, you actually couldn't do anything. Evenings, you couldn't do anything. But now you can get your dopamine hits at home. Every minute, you've got something to watch. And you never get bored. And therefore, you're having a good time at home. And it's actually ruining socialisation and damaging people's brains, kids' brains.
But also, you can just summon anything you want.
Yeah,
right?
so you've got everything you need.
You just go. I mean, when I was at school, right? Think about this, right? On that subject, when I was at school, what I used to do. So I went to school in Liverpool, but I live in Manchester. That was a stupid idea. But anyway, so I was the only mank in the school, just escaping. I mean, my mum and dad's advice on day one was, don't tell them that you're from Manchester. Well, that's going to be rather difficult. Okay, but anyway, that was. But what I used to have to do, I used to have to get the train to Liverpool Lime Street and try and find my mates. Right? Now, if the train was late, then they might have just gone. But normally they only went to about 5 or 6 places.
Or you'd have to phone their mum and say, "I tell him I'm here," and when he calls, and you do all that sort of thing.
That's right. No, you go. Normally, if they're not at the station, they'll normally be at McDonald's or whatever.
But even then, like food, you can get it delivered from home.
Yeah, that's right.
And you live in a communist utopia now where benefit culture is so prevalent. If you don't want to work and you want disposable income to go out, you can claim benefits.
And you can't, if you do work, it's unlikely, kids are going, well, I'm not going to be able to afford anything. I
So
won't be able
what
to
I've
have kids
also
in the house.
seen as well, which I think is quite revealing, is for example, people who are say on universal credit and PIP and other forms of benefits aren't about the same as if you're working full time
Often
on
more.
a minimum wage.
Often more.
So for example, say if you're living at home, what is the motivation to go out and work? Because it's not like you need to earn money if it's being given to you for by the state.
If you can, and I'm not being funny. Let's just be honest, right? If you wanted to, you could order an illegally imported cannabis vape from the United States of America, which is going to cost you about 50 quid, right? You can get your takeaway delivered from McDonald's, what, 10 or 12 quid? You can get a load of cheap booze, £5.
What a great night you're going to have.
If you're on 200 quid a week in benefits, I don't know what you would be on, and you live at home.
More than that.
You're doing all right there, aren't you?
Yeah, if I were to compare my friends who are on benefits and the wages I received at McDonald's, I would have much preferred going on benefits if I didn't have morality not to rely on the state.
Yes.
And you also see this new culture of people earning passive income, especially during lockdown, drop shipping, selling courses, that sort of thing. So if you're able to make money from home, it's earning benefits because you don't really exchange any
Also,
value.
employers don't want to get new people because of national insurance rises and new legal rights. They're ruining the economy and putting off businesses because businesses are just seeing a deflation of the economy and aren't going to bring in new people and have to pay more taxes, national insurance, etc.
What I will say as well, though, I don't want to attribute all of this to laziness because not all young people are lazy and relying on the state. What I found, which was really interesting, it's actually really shocking. So between 2024 and 25, so just over 1 million students graduated during that time, but yet there were fewer than 10,000 graduate jobs across the country, which they would be applicable for. And then as well, you've got a housing crisis. It is impossible for young people, young adults like myself, to get on the housing ladder, or you're stuck in the rental trap. You're paying minimum £1,000, if not more, a month.
So there's no hope. It's not so much laziness as lack of hope.
So for young people, what do you do? So now when you're applying for jobs, you're expected to have years of experience when you might have just graduated university. Where are you going to get all of these years of experience working? A degree, it was once upon a time enough, but now they expect far more. And then as well, I think with AI coming in and replacing lots of jobs, this is going to keep happening more and more. And then so this is why I think with all of these things combined, I am not shocked at all that we're seeing
kids are being told now that there won't even be white-collar jobs in like a year or two, so no wonder they're thinking, well, what's the bloody point?
What about you, Bob? You're effectively a small businessman, aren't you? Because you allowed to monetize your YouTube under 18?
I monetize some platforms because the sort of loopholes behind them are a bit easier. So yeah, you can consider me self-employed. I could set up a business and make it easier.
You have got your own business effectively. Yeah. There's no way anyone can talk about you going out to the back. How easy is that?
Relatively easy, and this is what I mean. If you're not an online personality, because there's a saturation of like creative jobs, you're selling courses on the internet, you're doing drop shipping. So my suspicion is that there are easier ways of making a passive income. And because of like 0-hour contracts, I was very frustrated at my job because would you prefer to give all these hours that you can add out to your workers to someone more experienced or less experienced? And especially regulating young people, so how long they can work, when they can work, it means that less people are going to hire 16 to 18
Well, the minimum wage is now like 11 quid an hour, isn't it? Which is so, across the day, that's 90 quid a day, and that's a lot of money for an employer to pay.
Yeah, and then you might not even...
And then you've got to raise everyone else's level above that as well because of that.
Yeah, it's sad though when you sort of. I mean, when I worked in Parliament, I remember them saying, "Oh, we're putting a benefits cap at 33 grand cash, right?" And no, sorry, I think it was 22 grand. But whatever it was, if you claimed the max, you would have more than the average wage in the town that I lived in at the time would get after tax.
That's true for most areas now as well in terms of the cap on benefits. I think someone did the math. You'd be earning way more than most people.
You can be on the equivalent of 100 grand a year just from having enough kids and getting that 3.5 grand, you know.
Well, that was the whole discussion with the two-child benefit cap. I mean, I'm pro getting rid of it, but having a benefit cap on how much money you can claim on kids. I think that's what
they should just get a cap.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary, Anna. Just look at this one important question to ask: this million 16 to 24-year-olds, is that a big increase? Is this a problem that's happening with every generation, or is it unique challenges for us now?
I think there's a lot of unique challenges post this generation in particular. And I think unless something is done, I wouldn't be surprised if those figures keep going up and up.
Is there any point, Anna, in you having a job, or would you be better off just on benefits? I'm not talking about, I mean, you generically.
Well, I think for some young people, again, like if you can live at home.
If you had a baby, Anna, if you have a baby, you'll be quids in. Have 2 or 3, you'll be laughing. Like winning the lottery.
If you can qualify for universal credit, and if you can qualify for other benefits as well, PIP, and you're living at home, you might be better off doing that than working a minimum wage job. And then what does that say to young people trying to get into into work? And then what is the motivation to work as well and get a job when it's like, well, I could stay at home and just be paid by the government. So I think something definitely needs to change. I think for as I was just saying as well, I do think for graduates coming out of university, you're straddled with thousands and thousands of pounds worth of debt.
With a Mickey Mouse degree.
Yeah, exactly. Mickey Mouse degree.
Because Tony Blair, that was, he wanted half the people at university. Ridiculous. It used to be for the elites.
And one time, just having that piece of paper was enough, but now it's not. And I sort of question, was my degree valuable? A lot of my friends question that as well. So I think more can be done to help those young people actually get valuable career opportunities. But then at the same time, also people who are, potentially being lazy and relying on the state rather than.
I'll tell you what I've decided to do academically. I've decided to do a master's degree in law, right? Because it'd just be easier to qualify myself than pay £500 an hour constantly for bloody legal.
You don't even need to do a degree in law, do you? It's a sort of conversion.
I'll just do a master's. It'd just be easier. And then anytime anyone tries to sue me, anytime Ofcom has a go at me, anytime some copper phones me up, I'll just say I'll represent myself. Bugger it.
Anyway, look, Anna, we've come to the end of the lolly. Thanks for coming on and talking about how lazy your generation is. Young Bob, any last thoughts in your last minute? Young Bob's final thought. Are you going to get attacked anywhere? What's your final? What are you doing this week?
What am I doing this week? I'm going to do 2 stands, maybe one tomorrow, I don't know, covering some more protests. One of the stands, actually, I believe we should bring back the death penalty for Jeffrey Epstein's clientele. Anyways, on talking about laziness, bring back national service. I'd quite happily sign up.
By the way, denial of infrastructure for people who are building a colony is the way to stop uncontrolled immigration. You were right, and unfortunately, Alex Phillips was wrong.
Yeah,
it is. You are right. I think she didn't hear that particular moment.
Anyway, look, stay with us because next we're going to be going through tomorrow's papers today with Dave, Phil Dave. Yeah, right here on Talk. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Thanks, Bob.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
This is the press preview with Andre Walker, Asher Gould and Phil Dave. Just to be clear, it's a newsreader called Fade to Silver.
Yeah, Fade to Silver.
Fade to Silver.
They all have these.
She starts off gold, but because she's only plated...
At the end of the news bulletin, she fades.
She's only plated. Well, she's only gold plated, so she does fade to
If
silver.
you're listening on the radio, you're missing out on it. It's really amazing to see it, what happens at the end. Anyway...
No.
Dave, Phil Dave's in.
Hello.
Tell us... By the way, he's got his show online YouTube, Down the Local. I'm on the next one coming up, but there's one just out. Who's in the one that's just come out?
That's a good question. You've got Simon Danchuk, we've got Charlie Rowley,
Rochdale, former Rochdale MP.
absolutely, and Stephen Barrett. So it's nice.
That's a good one. Quite
Stephen Barrett,
intellectual.
professional meatloaf impersonator.
Well, quite. Yes, it is. I'm very jealous. He's the only one who makes Ash's hair look short.
When's my one on?
Yours is on 2 weeks. Time.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. We had a good time.
We did. Had a good laugh.
You
It
and
was
me.
you, me, and Right Said Fred.
Having a pint.
Absolutely.
In my pub.
In your brewery. Yes.
You got Right Said Fred, did you? And what happened?
Well,
You
it was
had
only-
and it was in a brewery. You had
I
to
have
piss
to
up
say,
in a
it was
brewery.
absolutely extraordinary how every single topic we tried to cover, I think we went off in all sorts of directions that never actually stayed on track.
What did they drink?
Are they the white
Quite
wine?
well behaved. Richard had white wine, didn't he? And then
Fred had a Republican with
shandy.
lemonade.
Yeah.
Okay. I gave you a pint of treason, didn't I? And then you bought.
No, you had the treason, didn't you?
Did you buy? Did what?
I think it was treason.
He was peed.
I was
I had
absolutely
that Japanese beer, didn't I? I think so.
Japanese beer.
Didn't I have that?
Try.
Asahi.
Was it? No, I didn't. I can't remember what.
No,
I had.
you had Starmer didn't you?
Oh yeah, Starapramen.
That's it. Starmer. Whatever it is.
So we're going through anything you've seen in the papers.
I've got the Prime Minister on the brain.
Starmer.
So whatever.
Did you see Anthony Burnham speaking last night at the event for the Brit Awards? Because the Brit Awards is Saturday night, but he was speaking at an event for working class kids who want to get into the creative industry, and he said, "As you know, I support people who are having their careers unfairly stopped."
Yeah.
Right. I think that was a very good and very subtle dig there.
Career paths unfairly blocked, I think was what he said.
I can only say that I really appreciate you too, affecting your own career paths by appearing on Down the Local. But of course, new episodes out 1 o'clock every time on every week on YouTube on Thursdays.
Positive or negative effect?
Well, oh no, I think it is. Personally, there was a very positive.
How many views did you get?
I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was
How many views did you get?
Oh, well, it's early days to count the total number, but I mean, it's good.
It's in the thousands already.
I think it is in the thousands already, but let me put it this way. I have heard from the powers that be that they've said that for a new programme, they are happy with the direction of travel so far. So that's going to be a good thing.
Well, are they going to start paying the bar bill?
Well, that's something that we need to work on, but it's okay. I don't mind.
Anyway.
What Ash has revealed is I pay the bar bill.
He pays the bar bill. The Daily Mail, how to make your brain 3 years younger in 3 months, right? Well, so you'll be a bit more immature, won't you? And police urge to probe family voting fraud in sectarian by-election. Farage demands action after poll monitors raised the alarm. Starmer reeling it again as Rayner leads call to lurch left. Basically, they're sort of trying to gloss over it, but there needs to be a recap. There needs to be something done about this fake election.
I'm sorry, but there's something that just doesn't sit right with me about this. I'm afraid it sort of has smatterings of Donald Trump crying out after he lost.
Well, yeah, but I think he might have been right about that fix.
Well, look...
But...
If it's proven that he is, it'll be a hell of a story.
But
Andrew Neil says the two-party system is dead, and that's Andrew Neil.
No, but hang on, there is a degree of evidence in favour of these claims, not just from the election monitors, but as Asher read out earlier, which some of you may not have seen or heard, and you certainly haven't, Phil, it was the Electoral Commission that said that election monitors need to be sensitive to cultural norms.
Cultures and customs. The Electoral Commission said basically you've got to, if they do go in there, you've got to forgive them. But we should only be respecting, especially if you're a vote monitor, your own culture and your own customs and forget all the others.
I don't give a hoot about other cultures. It's whatever the law of this land is. It's very simple. You follow that, and if you don't,
especially if you're a monitor.
Precisely right. It was an election in which Islamists were forcing Muslims to vote on the issue of Gaza only. I know for a fact a large number of Muslim voters will not have wanted to do that. But unfortunately, the Electoral Commission, unfortunately Manchester City Council, unfortunately Tameside Council to an extent, did not allow them a secret ballot. They were not afforded it. They were taken in to the ballot box with their father or husband, and he just pointed out which one to vote for. We are never going to get Muslims to integrate into this country as long as we are allowing that to happen.
Well, I think we've got to be careful to say that it's not all Muslims to integrate. I think you'll find that there are plenty of people who are Muslims who integrate. But make no mistake, I think anyone from any religion who refuses to integrate in this country should be in trouble.
The Electoral Commission has once again said... Sorry, the Electoral Commission has become the latest in a whole series of government departments who say Muslims are second-class citizens in this country, because whilst you are perfectly entitled to go into the ballot box on your own because you are Jewish, if you were a Muslim and your dad took you into the ballot box and voted on your behalf,
that is not okay.
Then the staff would be told, because that person's a Muslim, you do not have to enforce his rights to have a secret ballot. Because we always look at it the way round of, oh, you know, these people are trying to corrupt the system. The actual victims are the people being dragged in to vote for a party they don't support.
No, let's be very clear on this. You know, if indeed there is some sort of funny business going on in terms of how the voting actually took place, then you're damn right. Of course there needs to be some sort of recount.
And what about this? Kemi says Labour was bitten by its own monster of mass harvesting of Muslim votes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's precisely what they did. They stepped aside and allowed electoral fraud to go on for years, and they just didn't care. But once again, I say, as a fact, the number of times when you will meet people from the Muslim faith, from the Pakistani community, Bangladeshi community, who simply do not agree that Gaza is the only issue, who simply do not agree that all Jews are evil, who simply do not agree with all of these things that the Green Party are putting round, and they were denied a secret ballot.
Farage said the extent of the irregularities is such that the validity of the election result may be called into question, and advised any further remedial action required. He added the principle of the secret ballot is the cornerstone of British democracy. When accredited observers document breaches on this scale, swift and transparent action by the regulator is essential to maintain trust in the entire electoral system. But never mind all that. Very interesting though, and he's right. And should they be investigating? Should they rerun the election? Let's have a look at a clip of Phil Daves down the local. Feast your eyes on this.
I want to have a chat with you about reality TV. Because, see, here's the thing. Where we're at this evening, this is real, okay? We're here, we're at the Florist Arms in Bethnal Green, and we are real. But reality TV is anything but real. All started all those years ago with Big Brother. Remember that? I know, that nonsense is still going. Well, sort of still going. But why on earth do we have television that we call to be reality when it's anything but? And all it seems to do is it seems to encourage people to act like they were made in Chelsea, or the only way is Essex, babe, or whatever the hell it is. What on earth is wrong with Britain? When did we become so brain dead that the only thing we wanted to watch was the Real Housewives of wherever the hell they're from this time? Seriously, get a grip, people. This is not reality television. This is fake TV. It's staged for your benefit. It's basically designed to be entertaining the nation and making out as if somehow everyone else's life is better than yours. Wake up. This is nonsense. It's absolute garbage. You're better than that. We're more intelligent, and we don't need reality TV. Keep it real and bring back the age of golden television. Oh, I need a drink.
Yeah, now you were obviously very highly inebriated by that point. How much more drinking did you do after that? By the way, it was like Harry Hill and Ronnie Corbett had a love child. You had the Ronnie Corbett jumper on. But yeah, how drunk did you get in the end?
I want to reassure you that I'm never actually drunk when I do down the local, because to be honest with you, as you saw, I don't really have much of a chance to drink. So,
no. But Phil, anyway, when you're saying people's lives on TV aren't better than yours, I mean, my life is better than yours.
No, what I mean...
No, just but seriously, objectively.
What I'm getting at is with that is that I can't stand the way that reality TV is framed to make out as if everyone's lives are perfect, and all it does is it makes those who are watching feel like rubbish.
No, but you shouldn't feel rotten about the fact my life's better than yours, Phil. But just accept it's true.
I feel that your life is different to mine, and for that I'm eternally grateful.
Love Island finale flopped.
Did it?
Brewers Droop. Yeah, you happy about that?
What a terrible shame.
Yeah, I mean,
am I the only person who's never watched even one episode?
No, I
have never seen it.
But reality stars have become the celebrities, and celebrities have gone into reality, and it's all gone into this mulch of nothingness.
Yes, it is, and that's exactly what I can't stand. And what we actually don't say, and I didn't even make a point of in that, is that I find it very frustrating that we don't look at the serious effect that so-called reality TV actually has on society, because apart from this idea of everyone's lives is better than your own and what kind of psychological effect that has, it also shatters people's ability to even have a half-intelligent conversation, because it's all staged and it's all nonsense.
But talking of intelligent conversations, having done down the local, down the pub. What's it called? Down the local.
I quite like down the pub.
Okay.
Yeah, what is it not called down the pub?
And I wonder why it hasn't got more views.
Okay, down the local. So what you would do when having filmed it for the first time is that you have a chat with us, and then you go off and chat to the public. So you literally go... It's a brilliant show, by the way. In between every segment, you talk to people. When you talk to people, how easy is it to get them to talk to you? Because I was watching you whilst I was there. And you did seem just mission up to people with a microphone. Do people often say no?
I wouldn't say often.
That couple in the corner did, didn't they? A couple of lefties.
Oh, they didn't like me very much, but I'm not surprised by that. But look, let's put it this way. By and large, people are great. They're really nice and they're very friendly when I approach them.
By the way, typically.
I would say that there are definitely some who don't want to be approached, and it's fine.
But just because they saw the talk TV, they saw the talk thing, they didn't. You know what I mean?
I have a microphone that has the talk logo on it. Yeah. But no, it's fine. Most people are very nice. They're very welcoming, and they are.
Do people sort of say, "Oh no, thank you, I don't want to"?
Some people do, absolutely, of course, and I respect that entirely. I'm not the kind of person who will sort of.
What about? Has anyone ever said, "This is not my wife, go away"? Because I've had that. That
happened at the Coldplay.
I can only assume, by the way, that some people have said definitely not. I do not want to appear on TV.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is, this guy first of all said it wasn't his wife, then threatened to stab me, and then it got very aggressive.
Got very ugly very quickly.
Yeah, well, I just said he's not. So my producer
he has that effect on people.
My producer tried to drag me away because he's not going to stab me. He's just ranting off, right? It's just.
But he threatened to stab Chuck, so you weren't that bothered.
But what they don't seem to understand is they don't seem to understand that if you film them and they say don't broadcast this, they think you will anyway, which is not true.
No, I mean, I will say one thing, actually. Funnily enough, this week's episodes that took place at the Black Lion Inn in Kilburn.
The Black Lion Inn?
Yes, the Black Lion Inn. That was the one pub I actually had the worst response from punters ever.
Really?
And I've recorded eight episodes now, Kilburn in London.
Yeah.
And there were a total of 8 people we spoke to.
Yeah.
And out of those 8, I kid you not, there were 2 on the night who said, actually, I've changed my mind, don't want to be in this. Fine, no worries, I respect that, that's okay. Got rid of it. And then after, a further 3 messaged talk through our feedback email address and said, change my mind, don't want to be in this.
Do you think they've been got to?
I don't know, maybe, but even if they had...
It might be that could they have been Irish?
No, I don't think.
No, of Irish descent, simply because there might be a reluctance because it's considered sort of conservative media, if you like. Of course, it's not, but
I don't know, maybe. But whatever it was, look, obviously I respected.
Is it the pub on the corner? I think I know it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I know.
Look,
very ornate.
Obviously, I respected their wishes, and of course, they did not feature in the programme. But of course, if you watch this week's episode, you'll see there are very same voices talking.
Did you go in the pub and it all went quiet, like in the werewolf, American Werewolf film?
Yeah, I have that effect on people.
Yeah.
We used to.
Text from Danielle. She says, I'd pay good money to see Phil drunk. Well, you don't need. You just put it on. You saw him in a
I went into...
I watched it on YouTube.
She adores you, Danielle.
Oh, thanks.
She's the firefighter. in Denver.
Oh, yes, of course.
All right.
It's amazing.
I've got to tell you about the incident I was racially abused in a pub. It's really bad, actually.
Well, let's hear it after the breaking.
Oh.
So we're going to hear
There's a
about
cliffhanger.
Andre being racially abused after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
This is the press preview with the star of Down the Local, Phil Dave. No, it's twice I've had problems in pubs.
Is it?
Well, once at university there was a fancy dress party, and I normally used to go in drag, if I'm being honest, but I went as a little old lady normally. But anyway, for whatever reason, I couldn't get that kit. So
what was your name when you were the little old lady? Did you change your name?
Andrea.
I played Widow Twanky in the pantomime. I talk like a Wiganer. I don't know why, but anyway.
It suits.
But anyway, so I
a wig and a new wig.
I didn't have, and I had massive boobs, absolutely massive. I just every
But
time.
Weight Watchers has done wonders for you.
No, yeah, well, I haven't anyway. So twice I've had problems. I went into a BNP pub, not realising it, and I'd gone in fancy dress as a Sikh because my next door neighbour was a Sikh and had a spare turban, so he just got a fake beard. It was easy. Wore a suit, fake beard, and he put the turban on properly, of which it was a real turban.
Oh, so it was authentic.
Yeah, so we went into the pub.
Done by a Sikh.
As
So I don't think
authentic as the fact that he's not Sikh.
Yeah, but if a Sikh's done it, that sort of allows it then,
Yeah,
doesn't
but
it? I mean,
Punjabis are very pale, and some of them have blue eyes. So I had convinced the pub, who were all just massive racists, that I was in fact a Sikh gentleman. Then there was another occasion. I had a friend of mine. We were drinking in Tooting, and she was going on about the fact her eyes looked puffy. She was going, "Oh, I look terrible. My eyes look puffy." So I went, "Right, come with me. We're going to fix this." We bought her a full burqa. Right, and she and we went into the pub. No, but then they couldn't see that she was looking rough. People gave me some hassle. But when I got into a taxi afterwards, the Asian
did you get a discount?
No, the driver said to me, "Look, now she's learnt the big advantages of wearing this clothing."
Do you mind maybe reassuring people out there now that you do realise that obviously those who dress in certain traditional dress based on religion is maybe not the best appropriate costume for fancy dress?
Well, no.
It's not actually a religious.
So first of all, there's nothing in the Quran that says you have to wear a burqa.
I think it's from Iran.
In Sikhism, hair is sacred. And
that's different. The turban is a different.
Well, no, I mean, my Sikh next door neighbour suggests I wear his turban, right? I mean, I didn't become a knowledgeable.
He got permission.
I didn't become a knowledge on Sikhism in order to work out the compliance details.
They carry a knife as well. They're legally allowed to carry a knife, and there was.
I'll tell you what he tried to do. When he saw somebody being beaten up in Leicester Square, he tried to draw the knife. I said, please.
But there was a Sikh guy attacked by 3 other fellow Sikhs down an alleyway about 2 years ago, and he killed all 3 of them with his ceremonial knife.
Gracious.
In defence, and he was, it was self-defence. And
because he's legally allowed to carry it.
He's legally allowed to go. Anyway, the Daily Mirror, Labour by-election blow, wake-up call. Well, I mean, he is like the knight from Monty Python, having his legs and arms chopped up. Tis but a nixer. PM vows to battle on after disappointing loss to Green. Starmer told to be braver to reverse slide in polls. Starmer vowed to keep fighting for change after the Green Party stunned Labour in crucial by-elections. Labour lost 13,000 majority to come third behind the Greens, Anna Spencer and Reform in Gorton and Denton. Manchester, former Deputy PM Angela Rayner, who's like... she's a bit like Angela Rayner, Hannah Spencer, and she's just like, all right...
She's a
plumber.
She's got that air of grottiness.
No,
she's a former plumber.
No, she's a property developer like Angela Rayner.
Exactly.
But she certainly seems to be round the U-bend, but anyway,
I think there is an interesting detail here, which is this. Everyone's going, isn't this a stunning victory for the Greens? No. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. They would get, 127 seats if they repeated this result in the general election. But if Reform repeated this result in the general election, or going, Nigel Farage has failed to press through in Gorton, failed to make an impact, he would have 400 members of Parliament when he needs 320 to form a government. The majority of 80 is actually pretty good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Absolutely.
They're projecting that the Greens could get up to 100 seats in the general election, maybe 30.
Well, I mean, look, I only put it this way: is that if that was the case, and of course, look, I know by-elections paint a sort of picture, but they never do really, because if you think about it, well, but if you think about it as well, by-elections are obviously sort of based on that area, and you can't possibly take a snapshot of the whole country from one area.
No, of course.
Luckily, most people around the country are not as bonkers as they are in
voting in a lot of areas.
So,
there will be a lot of areas where they'll see this now and they go, right, we can organise ourselves and win all these
seats.
And
they might feel empowered to do it, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's a great shame for British democracy, but I have to say, and people can like this or not like this, but Polanski will be the first one to get rid of. Right, there's no way that he's going. There's no way that he is going to. If he becomes Green Prime Minister on an Islamist jihadi ticket, I guarantee you he's not going to last very long as Prime Minister.
He says a woman can have a penis.
There's absolutely no way. It's just not. I understand why people get a bit twitchy about this result. But the truth is, there is no way that the Greens are ever going to rise to that much prominence that they'll come to power.
Well, as you know, what I like to call Zach Polanski. David Paulsden, because that's his name.
I was going to say, he can't even be bothered to use his real name.
I call him the hypnotit. As he's also known, the tit whisperer, because he can just talk to and they'll grow in front of your very eyes.
Right.
The Daily Telegraph, my 72-hour...
if you talk to my private parts, they grow in front of your very eyes.
Depends who's talking to it. My 72-hour odyssey to meet the Chagos Islanders, so that's someone who's gone and had a chat with them. I mean, it must be pretty boring down there. I mean, apart from you see a lot of military jets flying around. Mahmood migrant curbs must go ahead. She resists calls to lurch to left after Greens boosted by Muslim vote in by-election win. So
the argument here is we've been overly tough. Labour saying we've been overly tough on migrants, we should let more in. Interesting.
Now, do you think Shabana Mahmood is playing a very clever game here?
Yeah, because she's doing nothing but claiming to.
Genuinely.
Which is what Starmer did.
Number one, don't see any difference since she's become Home Secretary. Number two, even if I had, she seems to be sort of saying all the right things that certain people want to hear, and then I don't see any difference.
Yeah, that's what she's doing.
I don't get it.
Yeah, well, that's what's going on.
And then not to mention, if you actually look at sort of some of the things she said historically, which, of course, as we know, the Labour Party love to do when it comes to Nigel Farage. They love to talk about what he said historically. But if you look at some of the things that she said historically, she said absolutely abhorrent things that are, frankly, are completely counter to, apparently, the actions she's taking.
Yeah, well, we know what's going on, don't we? Britain closes Iran embassy as Trump warns, I may use force. Donald Trump said he may have to use force against Iran as Western embassies evacuated staff. He's basically ordered Americans to leave Jordan, certain Iran, obviously. The Chinese have told their citizens to leave Iran. It's all heating up, and there's going to be a few different options. Yesterday, 9 refuelling tanker planes arrived at Israel's Ben Gurion airport, adding to the massive build-up of military forces. Britain abruptly shut its embassy in Iran last last night, and other countries have urged their diplomatic staff to evacuate. It's all kicking off, and it looks like it's going to happen in the next few days. Britain's embassy is located on the seafront near the US satellite embassy. Asked if he wants to use military force, Mr. Trump said he doesn't want to, but sometimes you have to. It looks like it's going to go ahead, or it's brinkmanship.
I hope so.
Could they do even just a kidnap like they did in Venezuela, actually find out where the Ayatollah is and kidnap him? Or?
I doubt it. I think that, unfortunately, the Iranian regime is just too entrenched in modern-day Iran, and as a result of modern-day, what an irony, it's not modern at all, it's so backwards in their thinking, it's almost ancient history. And with any luck, before long, it will be ancient history. I'm sorry, as far as I'm concerned, the number of idiots who've gone around screeching Free Palestine all this time, what a terrible shame they didn't put their efforts into saying Free Persia, because actually that would have done some good.
Well, also they're not protesting about the genocide, actual genocide in Sudan. They're not talking about the Christians and the Druze in Syria. They're not talking about all the Uyghurs in China. They don't care, and we know what's there basically on the Islamist side.
I keep making this point. I don't understand why anybody wants territory full of people that don't agree with them. Right? Why do the Palestinians going, oh, we want Israel to cease to exist? Why? Right? I mean, can you imagine if you took over Tel Aviv tomorrow and you were an Islamic regime? I mean, how much fun would that be?
Yeah, but their idea isn't to move there and live with the people, is it?
No, it isn't.
Move them out of the way.
It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same as what the Russians have done in parts of Ukraine. They've said either you accept your Russian or we'll shoot you. The Russians now want territory with 200,000 more Ukrainians in. Why?
Well, I tell you, one of the things that's most fascinating about the whole Iran situation is that the Iranians are the ones who are funding, and when I say Iranians, by the way, I don't mean true Iranians, I don't mean Persians, I mean the Iranian regimes and the Islamists. Yeah. They're the ones who is funding an awful lot of the terror activity we see around the world today, including, by the way, all of these ridiculous marches that say Free Palestine and all that. Well, absolutely, I said something else there, all that rubbish. But the truth is that for everything that they say Israel does, they've done 100 times worse. So, for example, they talk about killing innocent citizens in Gaza. Well, actually, no, I tell you who's killing innocent citizens. It's the Iranian regime. They're killing people who don't agree with them.
Yes.
And the other thing that they're very, very good at accusing Israel of doing is pushing people out of their native homes and getting rid of them and saying, that this is our land, we're going to claim it now. Do you know what the Iranian regime did when they first took over Persia? They killed Persians who didn't agree with them, and they forced them out of their home. And
they immediately killed the leftists that supported them
today.
But I've seen that before, where they go, yeah, but you have to understand, we're doing it for the Quran. Right, that's two different things, right? If we're doing it for Islam, that's different because we're right.
What they did with under 12s, because they were too young to fight, anyone over 12 could fight, but they used to run them through the minefields they gave them a little Quran necklace and said, don't worry, when you die, you'll go to heaven. So they sent all these kids through the minefields. Tens of thousands of them were blown to smithereens to clear the mines, and that's the sort of people that you're dealing with there.
Yeah, but that's okay as long as you don't kill children in Gaza.
That's right.
Yeah, and they also accused the Israeli IDF of raping, which has never happened. If it would have happened, it would be so sent out. It's what, like you say, they accuse their enemies of doing what they're doing, which is Goebbels is.
But here is right.
Goebbels. I know you always say this. Goebbels, isn't it?
No, stop.
Goebbels had nobles.
No. Goebbels is an estate in Glasgow.
Isn't that Goebbels? Isn't that Goebbels?
Goebbels.
Isn't Glasgow the Goebbels? Goebbels was the propaganda minister.
Goebbels, Joseph. Anyway,
Hitler only has got one ball. The other's in the Albert Hall. Goebbels had none at all. That's history.
But let me make one thing clear to you about the attitude of these people. The attitude is children killed by the IDF in Gaza are being taken away from because the Jews want to take over Islamic land. Those people that are children who are running through minefields are martyrs for Islam. So it is appropriate to kill children in those circumstances, but inappropriate to kill them in the first circumstance.
Well, I tell you what's inappropriate is for Islamists to put children in that kind of harm's way in the first place.
Well, I mean, a lot of the children killed in Gaza were Hamas terrorists, because above the age of 14. And in fact, the figures came out, and it's been agreed by both sides, Hamas and Israel, that 75,000 people were killed, 50,000, two-thirds were terrorists. 03444991000. It's Talk with Andrew Nash and Phil Dave. We're going through the papers. Give us a ring and send us a voice note if you're a bit scared. 03444991000.
Who'd be scared of you?
WhatsApp. Yeah, why be scared? Just give us a ring. We'll be back after this.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, okay, this is Press Preview with Andre Walker, Asher Gould, and Phil Dave. What have we seen?
Yeah, Manchester, apparently more porn is watched in Manchester than any other city or town. What is it in Manchester? Why are they all... We've got the five towns and list of towns. Let's go in reverse order. At number 5, it's Chichester, where they've got that big spire, isn't it? Maybe they get Wolverhampton.
This is top of the pops.
Is
or something
number
very
4.
Similar.
Yeah, well, there is the song that we sing to them at the football. The Wolves, I can't say it. Birmingham has got the 3rd biggest amount of people watching porn, and that's number 3. At number 2, it's Plymouth. Plymouth's
got a big military base.
Yeah, well, you know, they're all there in their barracks, aren't they?
Oh,
and they've got
nothing
to do. The boys
are back in the barracks.
With the Navy. They're very macho. And number 1, keeping Plymouth off, is, as we said, Manchester. All right,
Good heavens.
Going on to watch some porn. How do they do that server? I suppose they go online and...
And also, who on earth would be audacious enough to respond to that kind of stuff?
Well, no, they look on. It's sort of, they don't find out your identity. They look at who's looking at the site.
And how have Manchester won? For every 100,000 of population in Manchester, 42,729 have watched a porn film in the past month. You dirty kids!
Dirty.
That is no.
I feel disgusting.
No.
I can only assume it's the bad weather. It rains a lot in Manchester, doesn't
That's
it?
true,
So they have to stay indoors, not
Well,
their
that's
time
pretty
somewhere.
wet.
Maybe it's punishment.
It's pretty wet, let's just be clear. Yeah, okay. So what? Okay, here we go. So, at number 6 is Carlisle. At number 7 is Southampton. At number 8 is York.
I reckon Bristol makes it on that list somewhere.
Bristol. No, they'd be like, pornography is disgusting. It's so racist.
Yeah, it's right.
Why is it
I
racist?
suppose, yeah.
Because poor immigrant families have to work in the industry. Oh, shut up.
Millions of electric car drivers have been spied upon. Basically, the government, millions of electric car drivers, the government has been looking secretly at the data that you're getting. Millions of car drivers in Britain were spied upon by the government through their mobile phones as part of a bizarre nanny state plan, it can be revealed. Customers of O2, as well as other operators, including Tesco and Sky Mobile, had their mobile internet systems history and app records passed to the government, and they were looking at basically EV internet consumption and habits amongst EV drivers, and even included looking in children's phones. Apparently they weren't able to identify the people, but they're not asking permission. Sir David Davis, Tory MP, said it's an abject lesson in why you can't trust the state with unfettered access to people's information.
Well, I tell you what this strikes me as is it's just a desperate attempt to try and work out why their horrid little plan to get everyone to go over to electric vehicles, which, by the way, are no better for the environment. I don't care what it is.
And they're crap. It's not ready, the technology. You
It's
have to wait
absolute
for an hour and a half in the middle of a journey. It's just
absolute nonsense. I mean, I could sit here very happily and list the reasons why, but not least of all the manufacturing of all these electric vehicles. You're not going to tell me that those factories are running on electricity. Guess what? They're not.
And also, if you buy one, it's basically disposable. You ain't going to be able to sell it because the battery's going to be part worn, and the battery's like £20,000, so the car's a write-off.
Totally and utterly disposable. And also, not to mention, of course, all of the elements that they use to build those blooming batteries in the first place.
And they send slave kids in, like, the Congo down mines, you know.
Totally. It's revolting. It's such a con. It's unbelievable. But my point is that obviously this is just another example of how they're desperately clutching on to this fantasy that they want to get everyone to go over to electric.
I think there's a very important point to make here, which is when they say there's 3 operators doing this, they are O2, Tesco Mobile and Sky Mobile. There are not 3 operators doing it. This report is wrong. there is only one network. It's O2.
Yeah, but they use the O2 networks.
Precisely. So Tesco Mobile operate through O2, Sky Mobile operate through O2. So it's O2 themselves who've decided.
And it's not known if Tesco's or even Sky knew about it, so they may be in the clear anyway. I saw nothing and I did nothing, says Clinton. Yeah, we all believe you. Bill Clinton told Congress he saw nothing and did nothing wrong. With Jeffrey Epstein, Mr. Clinton, the first former president to be compelled to testify to Congress, said he had no idea the crimes Epstein was committing. Yeah, of course not, Jimmy Hill.
So let me just ask this question. I mean, none of us are married, but if you were, and somebody said, "Do you want to come on holiday to my private island?" You go, "Yeah, I'll bring the wife." If you go, no, I won't bring the wife, and she says, I've never been to Jeffrey Epstein's island. Clinton says, "Oh, I've been loads of times without the wife, but saw nothing dodgy." I mean, come on, he's a dirty dog, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Well, I only have to say two words: Monica Lewinsky.
Cigar dress.
Sorry.
Cigar, the dress.
I don't know who you think you're kidding, Mr. Clinton, but come on.
Yeah.
Who do you think?
Yeah, and he had an obscene act performed on him whilst Nelson Mandela was on the phone. Why are you making that a bizarre noise?
The bizarre noise, of course, being your attempted impression of Nelson Mandela, but yes. But anyway, well, look, let me put it this way. I don't personally sort of buy into it. If Bill Clinton says he saw nothing and did nothing wrong, well,
but he did that
obviously
before.
We have to take his word for it.
It's
but
like
let's
Arsene
just say
Wenger.
His reputation precedes.
It's like Arsene Wenger when Arsenal gave a penalty
Allegedly.
away and he said, I didn't see anything. Anyway, Phil, you're big super fans here. Danielle in Colorado. Hi, Danielle.
Hello. I have a question for you, Phil.
Oh, gracious. Hi, Danielle.
Hello. So,
why do you like Phil, by
London.
the way? What is it you like about him?
Do you mind? Someone is allowed to like me.
No, I just want to know what it is.
Well, because I mean, he's so spot on with his opinions, and we're very, very similar. I'm very much like all of you politically.
Do you fancy him?
But
Do you fancy Phil?
Oh, I think he's gorgeous.
Oh, please.
He's lovely.
And Danielle's gorgeous. I've seen her. We did a Zoom with her. She's a firefighter. She could put you over her shoulder and take you up a ladder.
Can you imagine she took you over your shoulder to spank you?
She does come to the UK every now and then. I think your son lives here, doesn't he?
Daniel, I can only apologise. What did you call about? I'm guessing it wasn't for these really weird fantasies of theirs.
It's all right. Listen, I lived in a firehouse for 21 years. I've heard way worse.
Do you remember when we created for Phil Dave a YorkshireDating.com profile and couldn't get rid of it?
Went a bit too far.
Great.
Sorry, Danielle, carry on.
So, no, I was wondering if you're going to be shooting any more of your pub escapades in London towards the end of next month, because I'm going to be there for about a week and a half.
Yes. Right, we will
the short answer is yes. I have to tell you that I'm not that organised that I know the locations by the end of next month.
Yeah, that's a date. Yes. Danielle will sort it. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
But you're coming, Danielle. You'll be there. Don't you worry.
Phil can sit on your knee.
I would absolutely love it. So you can. I don't know if you. I mean, I'm on Facebook, wherever. I would love.
We've got your data.
I'm not on social media.
No, it's all right. I'll give you Phil's number right now. I'm not joking.
Will you now?
Oh, well, okay. So don't worry.
Find him on
Don't worry. Do you know what would have happened? I would have started reading, and your screen will just go fuzzy, and it'll go silent because they'll just dump it.
Oh, dear.
But Phil, what we need to work out is how we're going to get you in touch with Danielle.
Well, we do need to work that out. But I tell you what, why not? I'll say this. Live on air, I will say that why not off air, obviously not on air, speak to Joe, who I know is taking calls, or to Chuck, who's producing, and why not if you ask them
take
for my
Joe's
email
phone
address,
mobile number and just...
Oh, that'd be fantastic. I'm
Can we give her Phil's number?
So, I mean, I can get into the centre of London pretty quick, so that'll be...
Well, that's very useful to know, isn't it? There you go.
We know your number. It's 911, isn't it? Yeah.
Don't worry. Phil, you're all right with her getting your number, isn't it?
Let's start off with email address.
No.
Playing hard to get.
Playing hard to get.
No, I will also give the producers my name.
No, the problem is, Danielle, because you're an ex-firefighter, he's assuming you're fairly hot, but he's not sure.
She is. I've seen her on Zoom. She's hot. She's hot.
You are outrageous.
Don't you do bodybuilding, Danielle? Didn't you do some sort of bodybuilding?
Well, I mean, you have to be fit to do my job. But remember,
but you wouldn't like one of those big.
No. But she was she was the chief of the fire.
No, but you like, you know, when you see those women bodybuilders and they look horrendous, you like that?
No,
is it just extraordinarily warm in this studio?
She's very nice. Blonde. She's a blonde.
No, I don't. Yeah, I'm a blonde, but no, I don't look like a massive bodybuilder.
So am I, trust me.
But Ash, remember, it's because I took him and James on a tour of my fire station.
Yeah, she had those, you know, the American fire trucks. They have a front that the lorry sort of. They're amazing, beautiful things. Like
whereas in Britain, we've got what you call it? We've got Dennis fire engines, haven't we?
Yes. Do they still do the Dennis ones? I suppose they must be.
Do you remember when the Shooting Stars interviewed? They said we'd like to introduce now the French fire engine, Les Dennis.
We're all fire trucks are called Dennis, and then if you look in the rearview mirror, all police cars are called Ecolop.
But what we need you to do, Danielle, is to send us a photo of yourself via WhatsApp so we can see.
Police.
You don't have to wear any clothes or anything like that. It's perfectly.
Mr. Walker,
you
we
can leave your helmet on.
For goodness' sake.
Yeah, just leave the hat on.
Completely and utterly outrageous. Right. I can only apologise, Danielle. Don't listen.
Would you like a picture of Phil? No, I'm not asking him if she'd like a picture of Phil's nose. I will not do that.
I know what he looks like, for God's sake.
Oh, dear, oh dear.
No, you didn't hear what you said.
This is genuinely one of the
picture of Phil's hose.
This is genuinely one of the most surreal calls I've ever taken live on air. Anyway,
because Phil after Phil goes down the local, he can put out a fire himself. He's willing to demonstrate.
Sorry, yes, Daniel.
Ash, do you know how many pole jokes I've heard in my life? Trust me, I've heard every single one.
Haven't you?
Yeah, she's heard the smuts.
Yes,
she's used to it. You'll be all right when you make your smutty remarks to her. She'll accept.
That'll be interesting, though.
I think you'll find I haven't made one smutty remark
ever in your life.
But you've lived in the States, 20-odd years, so you'll have a big view on this country when you come here and see the difference.
Well, no, I've been home for quite a bit, and my family is all there. So, yeah. It's,
would you ever move back to Britain?
I'm very politically aware. Oh, God, I'd love to, but I'm sort of...
Really? Oh, gracious me. No, I can't wait to leave. Flipping heck. Ugh.
Why? No, we hear lots of people saying they want to leave Britain. Let's hear the defence. Why would you never move back? Why would you want to move back? It's not a big case,
At least you've got your family here, haven't you, I suppose?
Yeah, and it just... When I come home, it's like taking a big breath, and I just feel reconnected to everything. And I just
take a big breath, and one of those diesel cars that Gordon Brown encouraged everyone to buy.
But isn't it just because you're here for a few weeks? If you were starting living here again, wouldn't you think, I want to go back to the States?
But this is the problem with being a dual national: is that you always feel like you've got a foot in each country, and you never feel quite settled.
Yeah.
So Denver is only a stepping stone for me. I'm just here because I need to get out of San Francisco. But,
that's just fallen, hasn't it? San Francisco, it's just like a fallen town. City.
Oh, it's a joke. Everything you needed to see about how America's being run and what's going on here is just watching the recent.
And it was such an amazing town. I remember in the 90s, people I knew were all moving to San Francisco. Yeah.
Yeah, I got into the apartment literally months shy of 9/11, and so I've seen massive changes. But it's, it is what it is. But I would never move to London, although Richmond is bloody gorgeous. It will be. You know what I have a penchant for? I love the North. I love Northern.
Why? What? That's crazy. What is it that you like about the North?
Well, be careful at Manchester. We've established they've got some very strange habits up there.
Although they do you a decent curry.
Well, my son, I sent my son to law school in Manchester, and I just fell in love with it. So I don't know. There's something about
there's two law schools, isn't there? There's the undergraduate one, which is at Manchester University. But if you do postgraduate, you normally do it at Man Met. Which one did he go to?
He went to the university.
It's just it depends whether you're doing the academic course or the practical training course. But anyway, well, So we'll
give you his number. And we'll sort it out. It's a date.
Yeah, it's a date.
Thanks, Danielle. That was brilliant. She's lovely. No, she's great, Danielle.
Which one of you two is Cilla Black? Am I going to have to come back?
Yeah, we're going to have to get a new hat, aren't we? Yeah.
Do you know the best thing?
Surprise!
The best thing when they took the mick out of. Blind Date on Harry Enfield, the Scousers, and they said this girl Charlotte, she's got the three Scousers there. She goes, after a romantic evening for two, what would you say to me? And he goes, put your clothes on, love. Your taxi's here.
Yeah. It's Talk with Andre and Ash and Phil Day. We're going through the papers. 03444991000. Give us a bell. Back after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
This is the pay-per-view with Andre Walker, Ashley Gould, and the sexy Phil Dave. Oh, Phil, she loved it, didn't she?
Thank you, Andre.
She loves the Phil, yeah. Right, okay.
Put her on a Velcro chair.
Telegraph again. Gibraltar Army base subject to EU scrutiny. Britain's military base on Gibraltar will be subject to EU inspections under a new Brexit border treaty. Spanish officers will be able to board British warships and inspect RAF aircraft under special procedure designed to protect the single market. This is outrageous. They're going to try and get to do a Chagos with Gibraltar, although it looks like Chagos won't be going ahead now anyway.
Well, we do hope not.
Have you ever been to Gibraltar? Have you ever been?
I have been to Gibraltar. It's lovely.
Apparently, it's got the biggest Morrisons in the world.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I thought it was just a rock and a bit of...
It is.
They've got yellow letterboxes. It's quite strange.
Oh, yeah, and monkeys.
Do you know what?
I have got a bit of a story of the monkey, I'm afraid.
Did he poo on you?
No.
My mate got punched. I got punched in the face by one of them.
No, I was rather stupidly taking a trip up the side of the Gibraltar Rock, and unfortunately I decided that as it was so hot, it would make perfect sense to buy an ice cream. And let's just say that the monkeys didn't want to pay for the ice cream.
No.
So they started following me, and one tried to pounce. So I quickly said to throw it at him. So
we get that with seagulls in this country. They do.
Yeah, well, I had that with fish and chips.
Oh, well, it takes the whole fish.
Oh, I've been attacked by a seagull.
They knock it out your hand and then eat it on the floor.
Something out of Alfred Hitchcock.
I've got to. I had a friend of mine who had a monkey that pooed on him in a photo, and that made it into the Daily Telegraph. But I thought the best thing I've ever heard about Gibraltar is this: Andrew Rosendale, the Reform MP for Romford, said, "You've got to go to Gibraltar because it's like Romford only sunny."
Why does he sound like Nelson Mandela?
That is a good advert.
Why do they all sound like Nelson Mandela? The only person that doesn't sound like Nelson Mandela is the king. Yeah, okay. I think my Ken Livingstone's also Nelson Mandela.
Oh, for
But
goodness
anyway.
The FT weekend.
Just say the word Hitler.
£5.40 for the FT.
Oh,
Starmer Rock by Green's victory, yeah. Sanctions take toll on yachts. Apparently, yachts are not selling. They're not plummeting, but they're not selling.
But also the other problem is, and this is a lot of the islands in the Caribbean were concerned about this. You're meant to maintain the yachts, so because they've not been taken off, they're still owned by the owner. And so what happens is they have to pay the staff and they have to pay for its upkeep, which can cost an absolute fortune.
Now, this is a worrying story because performing robots prove a hit with Chinese viewers. Chinese biggest TV gala of the year put the country's robot technology centre stage, and the business behind them are now in spotlight. Now, when you look at our robots and the Elon Musk ones, and they're all a bit like that, and you look at the Chinese ones, they're now got samurai swords and doing flips and jumping. And if you think about...
It's probably just a very thin North Korean.
No, but if you think about China, they've been making phones, TVs, all microprocessors, all in that region. You know, it's like 200 years ago, we were great. We had cotton mill people who could do... They've got millions of people who know all about soldering and microchips. So when it comes to making drones and robots, they're going to be well ahead of us.
I love the way that everyone is really worried, though, by robot technology, because there's one teeny-weeny little detail that a lot of people forget. Robots hate water. That's a human secret
That's in Future
weapon.
World with Yul Brynner. But they'll make them IP63. They'll make them IP65 waterproof. They'll have those rubber things over the charging sockets.
Believe me, it's never possible.
What you're saying is, if there was a rise of the robots, we wouldn't use lasers, we'd use water cannons.
Absolutely.
Apparently there'll be swarms of drones coming over. They can send like thousands and thousands of drones.
Yeah, I dare say there's probably an element.
That is the concern about places like Buckingham Palace. Not that a very fast drone will attack, but sort of 500,000 slow ones. And
they've also got tiny ones that are like smaller than your fingernail that you can't even see now. They've created tiny
little wasp ones.
Little wasp ones that can actually, like a bullet, just fly through your eye into your brain.
Lovely.
So anyway, don't worry, don't have nightmares.
I was going to say, usually Nick Robinson.
Actually, no, do have nightmares because it's happening. Diplomats told to leave Middle East on fears of imminent US strike on Tehran. Well, we've been through all that, and get out. If you're listening in the Middle East, get out while you can, man. It's all going to kick off.
What about those two bikers who are in prison in Iran? They're not going to get released anytime soon.
A couple that went. I thought, we were told not to go to Iran because obviously they kidnap our citizens and call them spies, and they went, we'll be all right, and now exactly that has happened to them.
And obviously they're not spies.
No.
No.
Boris Johnson said so.
When he admitted.
Yeah.
When he admitted.
Oh, yeah, she's a spy. Sorry, I didn't mean that she was a spy.
That doesn't mean Zahari Ratcliffe when he admitted she was a spy.
It was like when Keir Starmer said we're an island of strangers, and they went, no, I didn't mean that, what I said. Nelson Mandela. He does talk like Nelson. The Guardian, Green Delight sparks nightmare for Labour. Bill Clinton, I saw nothing, did nothing wrong. Iran talks. US urges its citizens to leave Israel. Well, we've read all about these. Delicious cookies. That's the most important thing into tomorrow's
Do you
Guardian.
like delicious cookies?
Yeah, I do. I mean, but they should call them biscuits. You know what I mean? That's American, isn't it, cookies?
But I thought a cookie was a soft one that you get baked fresh.
It all depends which way the cookie crumbles, I guess.
But a cookie shouldn't crumble, it should flex.
Oh, there you go.
It's interesting point, isn't it? Yeah.
I think of a biscuit like a McVitie's.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, that's digestive.
Yeah.
One way or another, it's all unhealthy.
Why is a biscuit digestive? What
It originally was made, in the old days, Kellogg's cornflakes was meant to be a sort of aid to you, and it was the same digestives were meant to be good for digestion.
Well, what type of product is gruel?
Well, this is interesting because we've gone through this. Gruel, you see, I always thought it's disgusting, but Andre told me that gruel is actually the same as Horlicks and Ovaltine and Ready Brek, and so it's delicious. What was Oliver moaning about, Phil?
Ready Brek
wasn't. He asked for more.
Yeah, he liked
it.
True,
yeah.
More Horlicks, please.
So why is everyone going on workhouses were so bad? You got gruel.
You got Horlicks.
You got Horlicks.
Horlicks and an Ovaltine for breakfast.
Yeah. Eye Weekend. I don't know if it's a real paper or not. Rayner leads new threat
The
to
Eye is the
start.
real paper.
Yeah,
It's
which
the
one's
the Eye
Independent's not.
Weekend?
Right, can we just establish which one of these two newspapers is real?
The Eye is real. The Independent is not.
This is a figment of
The
your
Eye's to the
imagination.
left.
So why have we got this?
No idea.
It doesn't exist. This is just make it.
So what they do is, I've been told they invent this front page and send it to us to encourage people to visit their website.
Yes.
Well, we're not
It's a
doing that.
digital front page.
Eye Weekend. Rayner leads new threat to Starmer from Labour left as MPs warn PM it's terminal. So this is the starting gun. Well, she's already started. Rayner. Keir Starmer under intense pressure to shift his party to the left or resign after catastrophic by-election. PM vows to
He's
keep
not going
on
to do
fighting.
either. I don't know why people are banging on about this. It's just so pathetic.
We've got the
it's
photo
exactly
coming
the same as when everyone's sort of saying about.
Oh, she's all right.
What?
Look.
That's Danielle, yeah.
Danielle
I told
in
you she's
Denver.
all right. I
No,
told you.
Come round.
I can't. I'm hardwired.
Well, it doesn't matter. We'll say goodbye.
I'll tell you what
in a
I'll
minute.
do. Well, hang on a sec. I'll tell you what I'll do. I can call up the text messages on my phone, can't I? So
Holly Willoughby.
She doesn't look anything like Holly Willoughby. No, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take a photo of her.
No, I can get it. I can
Captain,
get it right.
do you remember Cindy from EastEnders?
Yes, she looks like Cindy.
Michelle Collins. You know, the girl, what's her name in with the...
With the what?
She's very good looking. She's in very good condition.
I'm not being funny, Phil, but you're not going to do better than that. You aren't.
I did enjoy the way that she's put. I won't say what she's put in the message, but very amusing.
No, tell us what
Danielle
she's put,
Spot on.
yeah.
Very good. There you go.
What's she written?
Okay, hang on a sec.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Apparently Ernie's message, and I've just seen this.
No, don't change the subject.
No, I'm changing the subject because.
Well, are you gonna have a crack with her?
No, no,
I would. I'd have a crack. You'd
Well,
have a
Ernie
crack.
says-
Yeah, we're all gonna, yeah.
Well, why don't we all do it?
Ernie says, Phil saying we could use water to deal with Chinese robots. That's like War of the Worlds when it rained. It's not quite true.
Well, have
but
you given
thank
the
you.
listeners your personal number to
Phil,
I was reading the text message you got there.
Phil, don't read. Right. What is she out of 10, Danielle?
What do you mean? I'm not going to objectify people.
Well,
That's
even
not
if
my
you say you're
style
going to
at
give her
all.
1, that's all right, isn't it?
That is not my style at all.
Right. No, she wishes
She's
to be
a beautiful woman,
When
yeah,
you say you
and
don't
she can
want
firefight.
when you say you don't want to be objectified,
Yes.
right? She can firefight, so she'll be good in the office.
Fine, all right. Well, I'll say.
She is an
I
eight.
will
She's
say.
an 8
I
or
will
9.
say 10 based on how.
I've got to be honest with you.
She's gorgeous.
She's got money. She's got money pension.
my God.
She's got training. Right. If there was ever a fight, she'd be well in there.
I'm so pleased this is the press
She's
preview.
probably got a
but
good
anyway.
pension and good money, good wages coming in from being the fire chief.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
This is a great woman, a
Yeah.
strong woman,
I
a
reckon you
leader,
should. I reckon
and
you
a
should
very
pull
beautiful
that.
woman.
I would. I'd have a go. I wasn't going to be a bit rude there. I'd have a go at it.
The Times,
Anyway.
Jonathan Ross says, I don't want to be a national treasure. Well, he's in luck.
by
He's not.
curious
It's Paul
coincidence.
Ross. Paul Ross is a national treasure.
Here.
There was a brilliant thing with the press preview yesterday. Right, so obviously, Ian Huntley had been attacked in prison, and Asher and I simply said the following thing. We're not going to tell you what we think, but you can probably guess. But we don't want to break any of the rules. Paul Ross said to him, have you mentioned this? And he went, I've not even mentioned it at all, because nobody's going to say, what a shame, but nobody can express their actual opinions.
Well, no, it's very simple. I think it's very hard to have sympathy for someone who murders young girls.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And on that, we're going to say thanks.
But we can't say what we think exactly of the attack, can we?
When's Down the Local coming out?
It's every Thursday from 1 o'clock on the YouTube channel. It's available now. Thank you so much. It's Down the Local.
And I'm in the next one. We're doing the Real X-Files next. Nanu with our UFO and mystery expert coming up after the news. It's Talk with Andre Nash.
Wow.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is a new segment of the show where we're going to be talking a little bit about ghosts. And Asher looks like he's seen a ghost. Now he's had a good look at.
No, I've seen Danielle before. She's gorgeous. I mean, she did it. We talked to her on Zoom at a fire station in San Francisco. But
she's only 4 years older than you, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean, no, she's in very good nick, isn't she?
It's all right, yeah. Obviously, none of the fires adversely affected her. But anyway, Joe Stock is here. He's 1/3 of the 80s pop trio Stock, Aitken and Waterman. He's not.
No.
Well,
listen,
he's our mystery expert.
Yeah. This is supposed to be with Joe Stock and Matt Thornton, but unfortunately Matt Thornton has failed.
He's locked in the toilet.
He panicked and ran away. Something happened, but
it's all right.
So what have you found out in your ghost research?
Well, we had no UFO news this week, which was very disappointing. So we had to look into.
Can you lift your mic up, Joe? They've just told us in there.
Great, perfect.
Yeah,
that's a perfect start. We had no UFO news this week, so we're waiting on bated breath on any developments about that. So we're going to cast our mind back to the subject of ghosts, right?
Okay.
So have either of you ever seen a ghost?
I think I have seen a couple. I was once down Smithfield Meat Market, and I went to the old
Ghost
church.
of a cow.
I went to the church there. It's a very famous. What's the hospital called by Smithfield? It's named after the church anyway. And I went in there. I just thought I'd have a fag in the graveyard, small graveyard. I don't know. And this old 70-year-old man, a sort of fat man with grey hair, he walked in, but he had the coach uniform on, the long tail, and he wasn't like one of these tourist people.
Something from a different time.
He was from a different time, and I sort of secretly took a photo because he sat on the bench, and then my phone crashed and I lost all the photo. I was able to show
convenient.
I was able to show it to a couple of people, and then it did actually crash.
I'll tell you what I saw once. I saw a dragon running towards me, and it just flamed my face. But it was 6 a.m. in the Lightbox room of Fire at South London Trance Club, and by that time I was rather drunk. But that was my mismatch.
You don't know that means.
I'm trying to put to you guys.
Have you ever had anything?
I've not seen a ghost, which is kind of important to what I'm telling you today. I've had.
Oh, you're not like that ghost hunter who doesn't believe in them.
You've not had a terrible problem.
I'm very open to.
Have you had a succubus? Do you know about succubus?
No, but enlighten me, please.
They basically come and have sex with you in the middle of the night.
I don't think that's happened yet.
Danielle Nichols claims it happened to her.
She's had a lot of succubuses.
Oh yeah, no, I do remember that now.
Her ghost story is unbelievable. Unfortunately, her little daughter died when she was on holiday, which was awful. But her other daughter, as a toddler, said, that girl keeps me awake all night playing in my room. And it had been, she described the daughter that had died, but critically, unbelievably, the child that had seen the kid didn't know she was in her room because she wasn't alive at the time the kid was alive.
And that's actually very comforting. Danielle found that very comforting.
I've actually had many stories like that with particularly young children seeing things and then adults hearing things that are happening at the same time. So I think there could definitely be something to that. But this thing that I wanted to talk to you about called stone tape theory kind of is a bit of a different kind of phenomenon. It explains residual hauntings, which is where like you would see someone who looks as though they're out of time. If that makes sense. So they're not necessarily interacting with you, but more like a vision. Or
that's what happened. Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah.
So the term stone tape theory comes from a BBC television show that was exploring the theories put forward by T.C. Lethbridge, who was quite a famous archaeologist in sort of like the early 1900s, and then he became quite an occult fanatic, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
There's some mysterious activity
going
on.
Just ignore. Oh, it's like that Section 28 with the lesbians, isn't it? Do you remember that from the 1980s? The 1980s. We've been rather invaded. The 6 o'clock news.
They got invaded by lesbians live on the news. Anyway, carry on.
Is that who that was? Is that a ghost? Anyway, but the basically So his theory was, well, I should say, when he was at university, he had a paranormal experience. He was sat in his dorm room on his own, and the door opened, and a man walked in and just didn't interact with him, was going about his business. And then left. But only after he left, the Lethbridge realised that what he was looking at was a ceremonial soldier, sort of out-of-date uniform, but he didn't realise that at the time, because this figure was in completely black and white.
Right.
So it's before they invented colour.
Well, yeah, but this is the thing, you say that, because it reminded him of watching films, and he thought, it's like I've just seen a recording from a long time ago.
Right.
So years later, he starts getting into the occult and he uses dowsing rods, because he has become fascinated with the idea of environments holding on to moods. So, you know, you go to a graveyard and you feel depressed. Or,
psychogeography.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. So, and he was noticing that these dowsing rods were reacting to the environment. So you'd feel okay outside, and then supposedly they would react as you go in, right? So he was doing all of this. And then as he was doing that, he saw his second ghost.
Right.
And when he saw the second ghost, he was there with another woman, and he said, who is that other woman standing over there? And this person with him couldn't see the ghost, couldn't see the apparition.
That doesn't suggest that he was having a bit of an episode.
Well, that could possibly be the case, but let's pretend he wasn't. Anyway, so he thought,
might not have been.
Well, he thought, this is the second time I've seen a ghost. I want to find out, like, a scientific perspective on this.
Yeah.
Well, scientific.
There could be a scientific explanation for memories recorded.
I'm sure there is.
Well, this is his theory. So what he did is he used the dowsing rods and realised there was another one of these electromagnetic fields in the street where he'd seen the ghost. But where his wife was standing, who didn't see the ghost, she was not in the field, the electromagnetic field. So he started to believe that these electromagnetic fields were somehow holding on to memories, and if you stood within one, you could, in the right circumstances, see events from the past. And that would be
because things are stored within landscapes. There's some this psychogeography thing that that there is a store of information and memory in land.
But on the most basic level, we've now discovered that quarks are flying through your body all times. So the point is, one very clear thing that we can all agree on: your eyes, your nose, and your ears, and your touch are not recording everything that's in this room. There is a great deal more in this room than we're aware of. The other thing that's really
it's actually, we're not seeing anything. Our brains are converting what we're seeing into something rational.
Yeah, so
we're not seeing
the other thing that's very bizarre, which I saw the other day, I was quite interested. I discovered that déjà vu, they reckon now, is decoupling of your senses, where your sort of touch, sorry, your eyes are just ever so slightly slower than they should be. So you get a sense that you've seen things before. But the next thing that I found extraordinary about all this is dogs. Right. The way I'm going to describe this is weird because it's what we would call visualising.
Right.
But the part of our brain that visualise is connected to our eyes. But the part of the brain that visualises for a dog is connected to both its eyes and its nose.
Right.
And so in the same way as we say we're looking around, whatever it is, quote unquote, I was about to say seeing, whatever it is processing in that part of the brain reflects both what it's seeing and it's smelling. So it's effectively almost seeing smells.
Do you know, dogs have only been able to watch television since plasma screens were invented, because before that on CRT, because of the frame rate, you know, when they showed on videos computer screens in the old days, that's what dogs used to see with the frame rate, but because of plasma screens now and the new LEDs, they can watch telly, which is why you see loads of videos of dogs, you know, looking behind the telly.
The point I'd make to you is this, that clearly the dog is detecting something that we're not detecting. What on earth is that?
They detect spirits.
You're saying, well, okay, somebody's going to go, you couldn't possibly still have a sort of spirit trapped here. But at the same time, a few years ago, you would have gone, quarks aren't flying through us.
But this isn't. This is disproving the theory of it being trapped spirits. It is just an impression, an image from a time ago that's been held there. That's
like
not
a video,
consciousness.
like a video.
And I was going to say, because you're talking about quarks and everything, water. It's been found that water holds on to the energy of any kind of moving object that's in it after the object's removed. That energy is stored within the water.
You can
the end
store
of time.
data in ice. They did away with.
But what Lethbridge realised is that everywhere you were feeling these moods, and everywhere that there were these ghost sightings, or like with this woman, there was always a flowing stream of
water. Which
water.
explains the dowsing rods thing.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes, and this is what's really interesting. After he had this experience with the ghost, he went back to his old college dorm room, and where he saw the first ghost, dug up the ground and found out that there was a flow of water underneath the building.
There you go. Anyway, look, we're going to go to a break and we're going to double the mystery experts, because we've got Matt Thornton, who's our other resident.
No, stop. we always had Matt Thornton. He just went missing at studio calls. We always had him here.
Sure, that's a good story to tell.
I was just trying to build it up. We'll be back in a minute or two. Stay with us for some more mystery and suspense.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yeah, that went out. That went out. Yeah, well done, well done. This is the Real X-Files, which is a new segment on Talk. We're going to be taking your calls. Well, I'm going to take your calls now, actually, to discuss ghosts.
Yeah.
Are we ready to do that? Are we happy?
I hope so.
Oh, I'm not
we've got a guest to join us.
Right, OK. Let me just be clear.
Yes.
Paranormal expert Matt Thornton did not have enough paranormal knowledge to know what time he was supposed to be here.
I can hear.
Yeah, OK.
What happened to you?
He went for a poo.
I was in the toilet. I thought we were on a quarter past.
Did you not calculate how
Look,
long
we're
you'd
on a
be in
quarter
the
past.
toilet?
There you go. I was right.
Did you not realise it was going to take you more than 30 seconds if it was
You
if
can
it was
already
bread, not
feel
water? All right. So these are paranormal experts. Why don't we just go to the first calls? Because, OK.
Matt's got a story of mystery, haven't you, Matt?
Have I?
I thought you.
One thing I would like to say. There's been lots of cases that back this theory up that we've been
I've got
talking
some mystery
about.
music as well.
Oh.
If you, there's been really famous ghost sightings where ghosts will appear to be walking through a room and they'll be missing their legs, or like their legs will come out of the ground, so there's only like half of their body. Right? There's been lots of cases like that. One of the people working in there's parents actually had a case like that as well.
Really?
Yeah.
And what happened?
Well, it was an apparition when they were driving down the road. But
Matt, have you got anything to add in this mystery? What you've been researching?
I'm just waiting for the.
But it's interesting because the thing is that it proves the stone tape theory, because what the researchers with these ghosts that are sort of like cut in half have found out is that the floors have been raised up in recent years.
Well,
so if it's a recording,
I think Matt's got something to add.
The whole buried cities thing. Have you heard about that?
No.
If you look at a lot of old photos of cities and various buildings, there's another level underneath.
Well, if you look in London, 20 foot down, you've got the Roman layers, and you go.
But in American cities, like newer cities, there's like a whole level that's buried.
But everything is sinking, and then what happens is it comes out of volcanoes, doesn't it? That's a basic. Right, can we stop this now?
Yeah, so I was adding a bit of mystery to it.
Right, okay.
But of course, this theory doesn't explain lots of things like poltergeist activity, because people claim they're communicating with a spirit or something.
I've got a poltergeist story from my uncle. My uncle used to be...
Have you got anything to say?
My uncle used to be a boxing champion. He used to get into the newspapers quite a lot. And one day he got a bit sad that he hadn't been in the newspapers for ages. So he phoned up a newspaper in Lancashire and claimed he had a poltergeist in his house. Right. And now his theory was this. His theory was this. If a local paper sends down a journalist and a photographer, because they're so short of resources, the story has to run. Right. So he said they're all sat there, and he just went, give it a few minutes. And he knew nothing was going to happen. So he went, look, and the only thing we can do now is we're going to have to replicate it. So the photographer went, all right, fair enough. He went, my mate will get an ashtray and throw it across the room. When he throws it, you take a photo and we'll all just look surprised. Right? So my mate, his mate was in a bad mood, picked it up, threw it, but he had this logical Juddy. Right, and it smacked Juddy in the head, smashed to bits, and knocked him unconscious on the floor. But the photo in the paper was just of Juddy with this thing probably 6 inches from his head going up. An absolute. But it was the story of the poltergeist in my Uncle Dez's house.
But on that point, have poltergeists ever hurt a person with like a fly?
Yes. Oh, they throw things at people.
Oh, Matt's got something to say.
Well, I was just going to say, they throw things at people, they shake beds, they do all sorts.
When your mum and dad's bed's shaking, it's not a poltergeist.
They cut you.
People have cuts on their body.
Well, you know someone who...
Yeah, I had something like that.
Well, stomata, isn't there? You know stomata?
Yeah, I do know that.
We had a guy on the show once. It's where they bleed where Jesus would have bled.
Yeah.
But apparently it's wrong because they didn't put the nails through the palm.
There's no way you could put the nails through the palm of the hand. Because all that would happen is, I'm not being funny, but if you nailed somebody to a cross with the palm of the hands, it's all flesh. You just go pull straight out.
You sound like you know too much about it. Anyway, Yasmin,
through the wrists.
She's a witch, so she knows about ghosts and ghoulies, don't you, Yasmin?
I definitely know about ghoulies.
So what do you know, man? Have you heard what the guys been saying? They've been doing a lot of research into this.
First of all, for the UFO gentleman, I forgot his name. Tell me his name.
Joe.
Hello, Yasmin.
Yeah, hi. Look up John Mack from America. He's a professor in psychiatry, and he kept getting people coming to him saying they'd been abducted, lots of people. And so he started looking into it. And then what happened was he came over to England for a conference, and he got run over by a car, John Mack. And there was also another man called John Mack who got run over.
Was he Return of the Mack?
So there was 2 of them that died on the same day with the same name.
Are you saying that they were taken out by an intelligence agency?
Someone who didn't like Mark Morrison.
100%. But the other thing that might be interesting to you, there's a book called The Uninvited by Clive Harold. He was a journalist. And The Uninvited happened in Pembrokeshire in 1977, where it was near an air base in Pembrokeshire, where the USA air base was. They landed on Stacks Rock, went into Stacks Rock, which is a big rock off the coast, and they also have photographic footage of it and everything.
Well, Yasmin, thank you for that. I will look into it.
Come on, that was rubbish. No, she's normally very good. Yasmin, tell us something interesting, not about a rock.
Do you know about Rendlesham Forest, Yasmin?
Yeah, I do know
Tell us about Rendlesham Forest, the British Roswell.
Basically, they came down, they thought it was Venus in the sky, the planet. It came down in the woods. It stopped the nuclear program carrying on. There were American and English soldiers there.
I've heard the tapes. Have you heard the tapes of the soldiers, actually, because they've recorded the radio?
Yeah, but do you know about the lighthouse?
Yeah,
no, what's
the lighthouse.
Tell us about the lighthouse.
Well, basically, essentially, when you listen to the tapes and they're saying, I'm seeing a light, it's gone, it's come back, it actually syncs up with the nearby lighthouse.
It was a red light, I remember.
Yeah, so skeptics say that it's actually a lighthouse that they were seeing.
But you can hear them going, that's weird.
It doesn't explain everything.
But the big problem
is... It was moving towards them as well.
The big problem is some people have seen things that are genuinely unexplained, to quote our late and much missed Howard Hughes. But some of the things are unexplained, but some of them actually are just weird stuff people have gone when they've gone, all right, fair enough. I mean, there was a professor in the United States of America who apparently got a big load of lights and got them attached to his hat, and he would stand by roadsides openly with a hat with lots of lights on, and 50% of police reports said there's an old nutter with a load of lights on his head, and half of them would say I saw a spaceship, and it was deliberately to try and research how much people believed they'd see. So, in my old school, they did a test on psychology when suddenly there was somebody shouting, run through the canteen and went out of the fire escape. It was, in fact, the head teacher. It was an experiment, but people started saying, oh, there was 4 of them, and one of them had blue hair and whatever. People do just start remembering things that are not real.
Yeah, false memories.
There's also a really famous thing that happened last week where everyone thought they'd seen this UFO in the sky, and there was these photographs of it. And obviously you've got AI upscaling, and it made it look like wow, this is some strange craft. But actually what it was a balloon in the shape of a film clapperboard with some stars attached to it that you could buy in the local shop. But if you see a blurry picture that's upscaled using AI, it will look like some kind of advanced spaceship.
Wow, got it. So this is interesting.
Oh, go on.
Sandra is in Birmingham.
Sandy in Birmingham.
Hello, both.
Hi, Sandy.
Hello.
Right, you're on about ghosts.
Yes.
Earwigging, were we?
My granddad died when I was 13. When I was 14, I seen him at the top of my parents' stairs. And he was stood there in a white shroud calling me. I ran out the house and got all the neighbours out. I was hysterical.
Were you scared? Because it was your brother. I mean, I suppose you were shocked.
My granddad.
He was just calling
granddad. But didn't you say hello?
Is that all you've got to say?
Is that all your question? Did you not say hello, granddad?
No, sorry, I'm not having a go at Sandra. It's just the only thing that he has contributed so far. Is that all she said? Right. When this call is finished, Matt, you are going to contribute something.
I'll never
Get
ask
your
the
phone
question
out.
ever again.
Get your phone out.
Sandra, so what? You were scared. You ran out. Did you regret it and think, I wish I'd have talked to him? Or
No. I'd babysat the night before, went home, and it was in the days before microwaves.
Yeah.
And my parents went, the dinner's on the oven, on the stove, were going to your nan's, and as I called my friend at the bottom of the stairs and walked up, he was stood talking to me and his mouth weren't moving.
And what did he say then?
Just come to me. Oh. And then when I was 16... my husband now, we're 44 years, seeing it. In the same house, I thought my brother and sister, who were younger, was playing upstairs.
Yeah.
I said to my now husband, come on, and we crept upstairs. As my then boyfriend opened my parents' bedroom door, I see my granddad's head on the table in the bedroom.
You saw his head on the table?
Smiling, but my dad didn't tell me till years later. He'd been to a funeral that day, and I see my granddad's head in the tie my dad took off and threw.
So sorry, what, was it a severed head?
In a tie?
Or was it just a head?
So his dad put a tie on the table.
Right.
And Dad put a tie on the table. The head arrived
in the tie.
Was a tap running?
Granddad's head smiling.
So thank you, Sandra.
That's really
thank you. Let's just wait. Stay there, Sandra. Joe, answer.
Oh no, it's just interesting you said about your age when it started. There is actually, it's very common for these kinds of things to take place when you have
Just there's just been a
girl
death
that's got at that age going through puberty. It seems to be a link.
But what about? I watched a program once about a kid who was obsessed with the fact that he was a dead child from Barra.
In Scotland, I've seen
but the point is, he could describe the island now because you have to actually fly into Barra. There are records of who's been there, and he most definitely had not, nor had any of his family.
Yeah. Well, that goes into another concept. But he was
able to describe the island. Now, Matt,
they do that for the Dalai Lama, don't they?
You think
he's obsessed with the Dalai Lama?
You think the ghosts are demons?
Sort of.
You said last week aliens are demons.
They're all demons.
Not everyone's a demon. Well, let's hear him out.
Well,
at least we'll get something out of him.
I'm sure that there's like a difference between aliens and demons and ghosts. But I mean, it depends. This stone tape theory thing. I mean, what do you think? Is it convincing?
I think this can explain a lot of what people see, but there is obviously certain things that can't be explained by this. As I said before, poltergeist, if you're interacting with something, it's not a recording from years ago.
No, sure.
Well, tapes are made of, magnetic tape is minerals and it's sort of almost made of rocks and things like that. It's magnets, isn't it? So maybe the stones have some sort of, memory from that.
It's a reasonable point as a basic idea.
Physics.
That if you can make videotape out of something you got in a mine, the mine contains stuff that would make a videotape.
Iron, basically. It's iron. Ferrous tapes. Anyway, thank you, Sandra. That was very interesting. Let's go to Janice.
Hello.
In Wakefield.
That's correct.
All right.
I'll try and make my story very quick because it is a longish story, but I was on holiday. I was 15, which I'm not now, and I was on holiday with my parents and an aunt and uncle. In Wells, in Somerset.
Wells in Somerset, which has one of the oldest cathedrals and oldest street in the country.
Did you see? I don't want to jump down your throat there a sec, but again, the same age as our previous caller, 14, now 15.
And it has the oldest street in the country, Chorister Street or something, I think.
Wasn't Chorister's where Alan Partridge used to go to?
Yeah. Anyway, tell us a story.
Used to go clubbing like it was 1899.
In Wells.
It was, and I'd gone to bed, and I'd not been very well. I'd gone to bed, I'd had a headache. I'd gone to bed, and I woke up, and I felt fine when I woke up, and we were sharing a room with my mum and dad, and they were in a double bed, and I was in a single bed. And
that wasn't a ghost.
That wasn't a ghost. They weren't doing anything. But anyway, I woke up, and the curtains were open in the bedroom, and I thought, I knew I'd closed them the night before, big red curtains, and there was two young girls. Well, a young girl stood in the window in a Victorian dress, and I thought, what is she doing in our room? We've paid for this room. What is she?
Had your dad, just a matter of interest, had your dad visited a phone box earlier in the day?
Pardon?
Had your dad visited a phone box earlier in the day?
No.
Oh, okay, fine.
No, she was in it. She'd got a Bible in her hand.
Oh, okay.
And a pair of gloves.
Right.
She was obviously going to church. The cathedral bells were absolutely booming out, really loud. And I think it's the bells that brought this into the bedroom.
Why? What makes
So literally, and what you reckon you saw was a religious young girl from the Victorian era attending cathedral as usual.
Yeah, just going to the cathedral, and across the road, she got somebody in the window talking to her, and I couldn't hear a word. They were talking, but I couldn't tell what they were saying. They were just talking, and the lips moving, and the bells were just really got noisy outside. Anyway, and I watched this other girl wave to her, and then. And I must have fallen asleep again.
Were you scared when you saw this?
Pardon?
Were you scared?
No, I thought they were cheeky. I thought, what's she doing in our room? But when I realised...
that's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing, isn't it, Matt? I mean, people, when they see these ghosts, are not particularly scared. I mean, if you...
Well, that's what a woman was before. She ran away,
My mum saw a ghost once, and she was au pairing or something in America, and she was at this house, and it was an old house.
Yeah.
And the room that she was staying in had like an entrance to the attic, just a hole in the ceiling, and she had a dream one night where there was a girl up there, and she was asleep, and the bed was just underneath it. There was a girl up there, and it fell down, and the girl fell down on her.
Like Train Spotting, where the baby comes down.
And she found out later that a girl had died before falling down that.
Oh, wow. I mean,
That's
you know,
pretty
you've
harrowing.
been here 20 minutes and that you've just said something amazing.
Would that be a stone tape? Would that be a stone tape thing, or is that?
Well, no, actually, that could fit into the stone tape thing because that's a past event.
I'll tell you what I find hard to believe. The ones that I found hard to believe. So we've got a guy coming in saying he was at Sandhurst. And he was on the phone, he turned round, and somebody in First World War uniform was staring at me, and then he disappeared in a flash. Right, here's the ones I don't believe. Where they go, right, your grandma's coming through. And she's telling me her initials are EH. Yeah. And you go, but if my grandmother had an opportunity to talk to me, telling me how many brothers and sisters she had, what her initials were, what her dog died of, she wouldn't do that, would you?
Those things are very predatory.
I have a story like that if I told you it would change your mind.
Well, let's wait till after the break.
I'll have to ask the person that it involved.
Hold on, let's go back to Janice. And you've got some other things to...
I've got something to finish this story, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, I woke up at normal time, at breakfast time. We were in a hotel and we were going down for breakfast. And when I looked out, the curtains were closed when I woke up. I thought, she's obviously been in.
Very considerate ghosts.
So I opened the curtains, and the building across was like an old warehouse or something, a long row of houses it had been, but all the windows were bricked up. So I haven't seen the girl across waving at her and talking to her, and the bells going. She couldn't possibly have been there because the windows were all bricked up. And I went down to breakfast, and we asked her, I said, there was a young woman in our bedroom in the early morning this morning. Look out the window. She says, oh, yes, I know. That's all she said.
So they knew. And how old was this ghost? I mean, what age was she, you reckon?
She'd be probably late teenage.
So this person didn't say, "Oh God, what you've seen." They went, "Oh yeah, we see."
She knew the room had this apparition in it, and she was dressed in a Victorian dress with a bonnet and everything on, just as you see him on.
A bit like what I saw at Smithfield.
Did she have colour? Was she black and white?
No, her dress was blue.
Okay, interesting.
Doesn't matter what colour they are.
But without being funny, sometimes if you watch a black and white TV for long enough, you start to know what the colours are, do you know what I mean?
My mate said he dreamt in black and white because he had a black and white telly.
I used to work at a hotel, and there was a murder in one of the rooms decades and decades ago, and the room service staff said that the Bible didn't work in there.
What? And on that bombshell, thanks, Janice, Matt's finally thought of things to say. We'll be back with more mystery and suspense with Matt and Joe.
The Bible didn't work in there.
The Bible didn't work. Back after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is talk.
Okay, this is the Late Show. We're doing a segment called The Real X-Files. I want to call it Unsolved Mysteries. Together we will solve a mystery. Do you remember that TV show?
All mystery music to get people in the mood.
Okay, so tell us a bit. So in the hotel that you were in, they offered no further explanation.
There was no further explanation. It was just there was a weird vibe in there. And the times that I'd done room service, you know, maybe it was a little bit darker than most of the other rooms. Maybe there was a slight chill.
No, I think this got to be the song, hasn't it? Oh no, hang on.
This I think suggests mystery.
Here we go.
The other
this
room
one. Do this
stuff.
one.
Oh, mystery.
Do this one. Stop. From Unsolved Mysteries. Do you remember this from the 80s?
No, I wasn't there. Yeah.
Well, together we will solve a mystery. Right, when Sky first came out, it only had about 8 channels or whatever. And the thing we all used to watch was Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack. He was the ultimate scarebag. He was the scariest thing that ever came on. He goes, in 1974...
Was he the guy with the mustache?
No. He goes, in 1974, Ronald Davis went missing. Together we will solve a mystery. And this is the theme, do you know?
I don't think it's as mysterious as this one.
No, listen.
Mystery. Chaos.
Stop.
Hey, together it's even more mysterious. Anyway, look, we're losing the plot here. We're losing our focus on the mystery.
I love Unsolved
Have you got any
Mysteries.
more mysterious things?
Can we have the Unsolved Mysteries tune just quietly in the background?
No, they were suspicious of the room, and I think it had a slightly
rooms do hold.
It had an unsettling vibe, and that would be the stone tape theory, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would be the stone tape theory. That would fall into that category.
Especially if it was an older hotel.
Yeah.
Well, there was also a hotel where literally in my mate works in Weymouth, where there was a bizarre smell in one bit of the corridor. They'd ripped the corridor to pieces. They'd taken off all the plaster. They'd taken up all the boards. It was no longer the same hall as a result of what they'd done. And they said we just
they couldn't locate the source of the smell.
That's another thing that's linked to poltergeist activities.
Really?
Bad smells. Yeah,
because a poltergeist is evil.
Maybe we've got one.
I think most ghosts probably are.
Yeah, I mean, they're not very helpful anyway. I mean, they try to torment people that are in the house or building. And it always sort of escalates.
What they really want, what they need is a physical body to manifest and act through.
Is that so?
It usually leads.
That's getting good, that isn't it?
It's just not really mysterious enough. I mean, this is
just don't engage with the ghost.
Yeah. Let's go to Ken in London, who I don't think is going to be very happy with us dabbling in the occult. Ken.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ken.
We've been naughty, haven't we, Ken, talking about this?
I would just advise you to don't be laughing about evil. There is an evil presence throughout the world, and if you don't believe me, look around the world today and see the evil that's been committed by.
But Ken, should we not openly discuss if there are demons visiting people to try and harm them? Is it not time to say because surely the Victorians would have said, yes, there are evil spirits. Yes, there are angels. Yes, there is a God. Whereas by us not believing it, actually, in a sense, we're denying a lot of what's in the Bible.
Yeah, we certainly should believe it, but it's nothing for us. I'm not talking about you personally, but nothing to laugh at.
But Ken, are you of the belief that all ghosts are evil?
I have read testimonies of young men who went to war. They'd hated killing, but after they killed the first man in the war, a force came over them and they began to enjoy it. Something happened in their minds.
Yes.
They were taken over by that.
Well, serial killers get addicted to killing, don't they? It's a sort of strange...
Oh, so you're saying if we get addicted to the occult, we'll get worse and worse?
Well, listen, the power of the devils is manifest by human beings mostly.
Sure.
The devil can oppress a person or possess a person. When Jesus was here, much of his ministry was casting demons out of people in Israel. That was his ministry.
But Ken, let me ask you this question. So, when Jesus cast devils and demons out of people, nowadays we don't do that. I'll tell you what we do. when we see somebody like Ian Huntley, we just go, oh, he must have a mental health problem. We don't say he's possessed by Satan, but maybe we should.
Well, some people might think.
Yeah,
some people do.
A third of Britons still believe in ghosts or paranormal forces, so it's not completely out of the public consciousness.
By taking the demons and angels bit out of Christianity, we're effectively denying what our ancestors always believed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a totally normal belief to believe in that stuff.
But Ken, is a spirit, by its nature of being a spirit, evil? Can there not be a positive?
Well, the spirit of Jesus. I mean, you heard a voice of Jesus, didn't you, Ken?
Yes, there are also good spirits, angelic spirits, which are good.
Well, how can you tell the difference then, Ken?
Well, a good spirit will lead you to do good and protect you. A bad spirit will lead you to commit evil.
Yeah, but a bad spirit will ask you to do something that will convince you it's a good thing to do.
Yeah, you'll try to make a deal with you, you know?
Well, let me tell you about an instance. When we were in Canada, we used to do missionary work amongst the native Indians, the Blackfeet Indians. And we made friends with a man called Bud. He had a wife, and I think he had 5 kids. In his house, they were wakened up every night by demonic voices speaking around the house. So they asked us to come and pray for them. So we went along and prayed for them, for the house and all the boundaries surrounding the house, maybe about an acre of land. And we went around that area commanding the demons to leave the house, every room in the house, and in that area they were in the reservation. And about 2 weeks later, we come back and spoke to them, and they said the demons had gone. Jesus says these signs shall follow believers. They shall cast out demons. They shall speak with new tongues.
Can you do exorcisms then,
They
Ken?
do this in the NHS.
Can you do an exorcism?
An exorcism can only be done in the power of the name of Jesus, not in the power of the person.
Yeah, but you did it, didn't you, Ken? You did it at that bloke's house.
We done around that area, casting out, talking to the demons in the name of Jesus, and we pled the blood of Jesus.
So hang on a second. So that would suggest that the demons themselves are misguided simply because. Do you threaten them in the name of Jesus, or do you persuade them in the name of Jesus?
Them.
Command them, I see.
Them in the name of, we take the example from Jesus. You speak with a commanding tone under the authority of Jesus Christ, and demons have to leave. I remember I was preaching once, I think it was up in Leeds, and there was a demonic woman came to upset us.
A lot of them in
By
Leeds.
the grace of God, I just shouted, in the name of Jesus, I command you to shut up. And she instantly shut up.
Wow.
Well, she probably was scared, Ken.
So there is demons, there is demonic powers, friends, and I want to encourage you. God is concerned.
I want to ask this. I want to ask this next question then. Would if I was in a household that prayed regularly, would I be more protected from ghosts or demons or whatever than the average person? I'm not taking the
You
mick.
actually wouldn't be.
Why, go on?
Because cases of demonic possession, whether it be a person or a house, are reported more with religious people. Atheists do not.
So it winds them up more.
But a religious person would believe it to be.
Yes,
would believe it to be a demonic force rather than an atheist, wouldn't?
Yes, but that doesn't. Yeah.
They open themselves up to that force.
Yeah. But the point is that.
Like dabbling in a
sorry,
Ouija board,
I've never talked about this before. Ken is still here, who will respond. So you're saying that actually demons are more likely to attack a Christian household because the Christian household represents a threat to them.
Oh, I don't know about that. Maybe.
I don't know. Neither do I.
There's a correlation there that Christian households are reporting these things, not en masse. It's not
a common thing.
But
more
your religion would report that. I'm sure if it was an Islamic family, they'd probably report
there's a reason why. I mean, the Catholic Church has an exorcist in every parish.
The NHS has exorcists.
Yes,
really?
This was a story a few weeks ago. Yeah. There was I think it was a hospice in Norwich. The staff and the patients were complaining about a girl in a red dress walking around, things disappearing, things moving, that sort of thing. And the NHS has a team of Anglican ministers to go around and do blessings.
But surely
and
it would be a
exorcisms.
comfort in a hospice to know there's afterlife.
Well, it was a converted school.
There's something after.
I don't know about this case specifically, but
do you think Matt's making it up?
Definitely. Yeah. No, he's not. I've read it too.
But it would make sense. But if one of your patients in a hospice says, "I'm a Christian and I'm convinced that there is a demon in this hospice. The obvious thing to do was to phone up the Church of England, and the Church of England would say, we are aware of this problem. That's why every area of the country has an exorcist.
What about in these hospices? Sometimes they'll have like a cat that can predict when the next patient's going to die. Have you heard about that?
Well, hospices
like sometimes they're. I mean, there's only a few examples.
Dogs do that as well.
But sometimes there's this cat, and it'll go up to and sleep in the bed of whichever hospice patient they think is going to die.
Maybe it's a diseased cat, and it's not.
But there is another element to that. If what I said about what I said about dogs is correct, it's the thing that the part of the brain that we use to visualise, it has connected to both its eyes and its nose. That means that it is when it detects cancer through smell, it's effectively seeing it on you in some way we can't understand. Ken, your response to Christians being unfairly targeted.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
It is recorded in the many murders which happen all over the world, it is recorded officially that many of these murderers acted upon voices in their head.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
This is a fact. Now, some people just say, oh, it's a mental problem.
They call it schizophrenia, don't they? Yeah.
In most cases, it is a demonic voice encouraging them to practice evil. The same with witches.
Yeah,
witches have a demonic power, so don't let a witch speak over you. Be careful.
It's something I would like to discuss at one point. It's just too late now. But there are actually, he is right. There are occult, potentially satanic elements to a lot of serial killing that has just gone under the radar and not really made it into the press.
But that's because we don't stand up in court. We're not willing to stand up in court and say this person is possessed by Satan. What we say is they're mentally ill.
Yes, but it doesn't. They don't necessarily have to. We don't necessarily have to believe that they're possessed by Satan. But if they're doing things with a sort of satanic mindset,
right,
that could be quite an important thing in explaining behaviour.
But if you worship the devil and like putting up all that stuff Marilyn Manson probably likes, you are a bit nutty.
Yeah, but
anyway.
that's not really. That's a very surface level kind of Satanism, when there's actually a different kind.
Explain. No, I'll tell you what. Ken, hang round for 2 minutes. Why don't we go to a break and come back?
A little break here. Let's do that, because it's all getting a bit too scary here. We're just going to gather our senses together and come back in a couple of minutes.
Oh yes.
Say something, Matt.
Let's go.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Okay, we are doing a special Real X Factor thing. We're trying it out a little bit. I think last week was a bit weird with the UFOs, but we've got some ghost stories going on tonight, which we're really loving. Ken is staying with us for a Christian perspective. We've got Joe Stock and we've got Matt Thornton, both UFO experts. If I'm being honest, one is better than the other, but we've got them both here.
We've got a text. We've got a message from Wise Lady, but let's read a text. Ken is partly right. The demons take over the human mind as a demon feeds off human energy. You don't always see them. Demons take over trapped spirits. Don't let them move on and communicate with humans who think they are ancestors. You have to move the demon on, which then frees the trap.
So the demon is going to persuade you it's an ancestor of yours.
Let's hear her voice note. She's left a message on the Panasonic. Let's hear from Wise Lady.
You don't always have to see things, the spirits, demons that pretend to be ancestors. They can communicate for you through your mind, make you physically ill. You mustn't mess about with this stuff.
Yeah, man.
I think, obviously, I do think with lots of crimes, there has been occult elements to them that have gone under the radar, haven't been reported on. But I don't think we should use that as like an excuse for these serial killers, saying they're possessed by the devil.
But that is the concern, Matt, isn't it? That if you are able to say either I had a genetic predisposition to doing this, or I was possessed by Satan, then you're just going to get away with it. That's a concern.
Well, I think you can. I mean, looking historically, people wouldn't let people get away with being.
Well, you get sent to Broadmoor, like Yorkshire Ripper. You get sent to Broadmoor. I suppose
it's
not prison; it's a medical facility.
I suppose Ken. We'll give him a final comment, but I think Ken's view is that you should be punished by the criminal law if whatever happens, and then after that you can repent. Is that about right, Ken?
Yeah, we have to face the consequences of our actions, but God forgives us of our sin. But here, the Bible tells us how to overcome the devil. This is in the Bible. And they overcame him, that's Satan, by the word of their testimony and by the blood of the Lamb. To overcome the devil, only a Christian who is under the authority of Jesus can testify to the demons, speak to him and say, you demons, Jesus Christ died for me and covered by his blood. I command you now to leave me in the name of Jesus.
But Ken, forgive the interruption on that, but cultures all across the world have all experienced this same phenomenon. They've interpreted it in different ways, but it's the same thing, which is what's so interesting about it. These civilizations have never met, and they're experiencing it.
Yeah, but somebody would deal with Satan before Jesus was revealed, 2,000 years ago, right? So they would have their own way.
So yeah, I'm just saying. So you're saying that Jesus is the only way to stop this, but obviously
other religions would say
ways.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's
Jesus, listen, the only power over demons come from the blood of Jesus Christ and his death and resurrection. That is the only way to defeat the devil.
But Ken,
you're never going to convert.
But Ken, what about keep Ken for 1 second. Yeah. But Ken, what about people who predated Jesus? Right. So surely God must have assisted them in some way.
Yeah.
Of course they would. If they believed in God, the Creator, who is visible in creation, God helps. God knows. We're only judged by the understanding God has given us. But I can assure you, the only way to defeat the devil today is for a Christian to be under the blood of Jesus and talk.
All right. Let's go to John in Staffordshire. I think it's going to have to be our last caller, unfortunately.
Jean.
Hi, fellas. How are you doing?
Yeah, we're all right. Fantastic. How are you, John? You all right? Yeah. Staffordshire, that must be a lot of ghosts and ghoulies around there.
Absolutely none at all. What a load of rubbish. I've never heard such codswallop in all my life. Ghosts and ghoulies.
It's good to hit the other side.
You've never seen a ghost?
Why do you not believe it? I mean, it's incumbent for us to prove it, right?
Have you ever been down Cannock Chase?
Yes, I have. I've been down there many a time. I basically, I was in the RAF where there's loads of ghosts, supposedly. I've never seen one in my life. I've worked nights half my life. I've been a police officer, and I've never seen a UFO or a ghost or a ghoulie or anything. It's a complete load.
But unfortunately, lots of people have. So just because I haven't really seen a ghost myself or a UFO, but you know, it doesn't just automatically dismiss all of this testimony from people, does it? I mean, sure, come on.
Seriously, in all my life, I've never seen any proof of a ghost or
that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I've never seen ultraviolet light, but it's all around us.
That's right. I've never seen an aircraft carrier.
There you go. They're out there.
I've seen the Northern Lights. and I believe they're real because I've seen them with my own eyes.
Enough. Well, they're most definitely real.
I've never met anybody who can conclusively say they've seen a ghost and proved it.
Yeah, that's a reasonable point. But the big problem is, what would be the proof that would be required? It was like when somebody said, was it Albert Einstein who said mathematics is the system by which God wrote the world, right? Or something.
It is in nature. Maths is within nature.
And he claimed the existence of maths proved the existence of God because God had to have a way of doing it.
Well, nature is based on maths when you see things grow and fractals and all that, and pi r squared is actually a sort of. I saw this autistic kid, and he could just
Fibonacci sequence.
He could just say the pi to unlimited, infinite numbers. This was all being calculated in his head. Footballers like David Beckham, when he scores a free kick, his brain's actually doing maths in his head. Even
of course,
it's thick. Actually, he couldn't express it. His brain is like a supercomputer in how it can work out the angle, the wind, and everything automatically.
I think the unfortunate thing about this kind of phenomenon is that there probably won't be a solid scientific explanation for it, and for a lot of people, that
I'm not sure you're right, because our ability to explain science. John was just talking about the Northern Lights. We now know anybody who says the Northern Lights exist is definitely telling the truth. There's absolutely no doubt they're telling the truth, because we can explain about light refraction and all this sort of stuff, and things like rainbows. I mean, I think rainbows are easier because most people have seen one.
But I think also the culture around this kind of subject matter, it's laughed at by a lot of people. Yeah, so I don't think it's ever going to get any serious eyes.
I think even if it was scientifically proven, a lot of people would still deny it.
Well, it depends what you're scientifically proving.
Well,
I just remembered I did see a sort of presence of a ghost here, because obviously this building is number 1 London Bridge, and I was once down at 2 in the morning on the ground floor, in the sort of green room bit, and I went in and I sort of was a bit knackered after the show. I had a bad back and I went, oh, like that, and then suddenly this voice went, oh, like that, and it was like, it might have been.
It sat on Vanessa Phelps.
It could have been, no, not that Vanessa, yeah, she'd have sat on me. So John, is there no way of converting you? Did you not have any mates there that saw anything?